Thanks for joining us on America's Day at the Races, brought to you by America's Best Racing. For the love of the race, visit americasbestracing.net today. Turns out it's America's night at the races. As I'm your host, Acacia Pompano, we are so excited to be bringing you live racing this evening from Paris Hoosier Park as we kick off the Breeders' Crown. 2 nights with the biggest stars in standardbred racing, all in the spotlight. Looking forward to talking about all of that exciting action as we'll take a look at what's coming up this evening. Today's races presented by Claiborne Farm. We'll be bringing you races 9 through 13 from Paris Hoosier Park. Fast conditions there, of course highlighted by the Breeders' Crown 2-year-old fillies Pace and the Breeders' Crown 2-year-old Trot, races 12 and 13, but such great racing to look forward to this evening. I want to remind everybody that you can sign up, play all of the action with Naira Bets just in time for the Breeders' Cup. You can get up to a $200 deposit match bonus and a $25 free play. Use promo code CUP25. Sign up at nairabets.com or download the app today to get started. Happy to welcome in my partner in crime, Paul Verderosa, who will be helping us go through all of the exciting racing tonight, Paul. And as I said, it's such a big weekend for the sport of harness racing. Why is the Breeders' Crown so important?
So Breeders' Crown is huge because if you think about it, it may not necessarily talk about divisional year-end honors at times, but when you bring together the best horsemen and horses from the East Coast, and now with the money that's been infused and the Midwest is caught up with Ohio, Indiana, and Kentucky, throw in Ontario, which gets stronger every year, bring it all together. You're going to get 2 nights with great horses and great racing.
Now, if you are potentially somebody that follows us throughout the afternoons, as far as our thoroughbred racing is concerned, you'd certainly be aware that next week is the Breeders' Cup World Championships for all of the thoroughbreds. Tonight, the Breeders' Crown kicks off, and there's a lot of similarities, Paul. The 2-year-olds take place on Friday, the older horses on Saturday, thoroughbred racing versus harness racing. Both began in 1984, which I thought was really interesting, and some big purses on the line as far as the Breeders' Crown this weekend as well.
Yeah, and just like on the thoroughbred side, on the harness side, you work your way up to it as the year goes on. We've seen a lot of these horses go through their start of the year, get themselves revved up, go through stake season. You see it on the thoroughbred side as well. You hit those key prep races to get yourself ready. And it's a little bit different for the harness side because winning a race tonight may not necessarily guarantee you a division honor, where in the Breeders' Cup, more times than not, if you win that race, you're going to win whatever division it is you're in. But make no mistake, this is still a lucrative race to be able to win and to have in your back pocket, and a lot of money too.
Well, luckily we have some boots on the ground over at Harris Hoosier Park. Gabe Pruitt and Jessica Otten joining us. Guys, so happy to have you with us, and we're just talking about the importance of the Breeders' Crown. What are some of the things that you're most looking forward to seeing with the big events this weekend?
It is a huge event this weekend here at Harris Hoosier Park. Over $7.2 million in purse earnings over the next couple of days. And Gabe, we have really nice weather tonight. Of course, the 2-year-olds take the stage tonight. The 3-year-olds and open horses go tomorrow night.
Yeah, it's really a Chamber of Commerce night, Jess, here. We're about 40 miles northeast of Indianapolis, Indiana. Here we are in late October. It was in the 70s here today, guys. So the weather couldn't be any better. The racing couldn't be any better. It's going to be a wonderful night.
It is. We have a lot of key marquee matchups coming up. Of course, the main one tonight, maybe the main one all weekend. That comes to the 2-year-old Colt and Gelding Trot. Carl versus TCI.
Yes, and we saw these two hook up down in Lexington at the Red Mile, Jess, and no separated them. They are the 2 best trotting colts in the sport. In fact, at this point, they'd be the 2 favorites for next summer's $1 million Hambletonian. So the rematch is key tonight. We'll see if Carl can turn the tables on TCI with $700,000 on the line in one of the most highly anticipated events, not only tonight, as you said, but the entire weekend.
And, of course, we'll see Geocentric, the undefeated 2-year-old pacing filly, come out of Brian Brown's barn. It's a very good group of 2-year-old pacing fillies. Ronnie Burke will send out 4 of those. Again, it's going to be a great night of racing tonight. Tomorrow night, we got plenty of matchups coming up on that as well. We'll have, the #1 rated horse in North America in Confederate.
Yeah, he's going to be here. He is going to have all eyes on him. He is the prohibitive favorite, Jess, to be the horse race of the year in the sport of harness racing. Confederate will try and bank another huge win here tomorrow in that Breeders' Crown Trophy.
And, of course, the Open Pacers highlighted by Tattoo Artist. The Open Trot is going to be great as well. Really looking forward to, and the Hamiltonian winner, Tactical Approach, will have to do it from post 10, which trails here at Harris Hoosier Park. So definitely looking forward to not only tonight, but tomorrow night as well. And I'm excited.
Yeah, it really is. $2.8 million on the line tonight in these Breeders' Crown Championships, $700,000 each. We've got 8 more championships back here tomorrow. Third time in the history that Hoosier Park is hosting this prestigious event. And again, things couldn't be any more exciting here as we get set for the first championships right here tonight.
It is going to be a great night of racing. And hey, we're so happy to be with you live on site. We'll send it back to Acacia and Paul.
Gabe and Jessica, thank you so much. We look forward to hearing your insights throughout the evening and mentioning some of the big names that we'll have an opportunity to see throughout tonight and tomorrow. But to kick off our live racing on the program, we'll start things off with the 9th from Harris Hoosier Park, and that is the Pompano Park. I'm sure a race that Gabe holds very true as they are lining up. Some quick thoughts, Paul?
Sleazy Mama's been taking on some Steiger Stakes recently, the number 5. So she'll like the class relief here she's going to find. She's well posted. She's got enough tactical speed to put her in the game. She didn't get the right setup 2 starts back. She was further back than she wants to be. I think tonight she'll get the job done.
Here's the 9th, the Pompano Park. Michael Chamberlain with the call.
Here they come. They are all. And Dixie Dream away well. Then Molly's Ace, Prosecco Princess, is inside 3rd. Tarapasta is 4th. Next comes Hysterical with Dancin' by the Seaside. After that, it's Sleazy Mama, who is racing 7th. And the 2 back markers are Lay All Your Love on Me and Like It Like That. 27 2/5, the opening quarter. On the backstretch, Dixie Dream in front. But Prosecco Princess is moved to the outside and is now moving right up to challenge that leader and go on by to take over. Racing 3rd is Molly's Ace, and then after that, 4th, Tarapasta. Next in 5th is Hysterical, as Sleazy Mama moves up on the outside of Dancin' by the Seaside. Racing 8th is Lay All Your Love on Me, and the trailer is Like It Like That. 55 2 for the half, the second quarter, 28 seconds. Even money favorite, Prosecco Princess, is in front on the second turn. Dixie Dream 2nd, Sleazy Mama making progress to the outside 3rd, with Molly's Ace inside 4th. Then Tarapasta as the field now hits the top of the stretch. 3 quarters, 123 3. 28 1 the third quarter, and Prosecco Princess continues to lead. Dixie Dream and Sleazy Mama. Molly's Ace is angling out, trying to come through to the inside is Tarapasta. Final 1/8 of a mile, and Prosecco Princess in front by 2. Prosecco Princess is going to give Dexter Dunn a 5th winner this evening. Second was Molly's Ace, then Tarapasta in 151 2.
Prosecco Princess with the win in the Pompano Park, and you heard in the call, it's been quite a night for driver Dexter Dunn.
He's getting his night started off well. Number 5. It's hard enough to win 3, let alone 4. Now you won 5, and you got some live drives coming up later on. But you know what, though? Prosecco Princess does tend to run better when she's down inside. She got that tonight. She got Dex, and she showed some speed off the gate. She got to the top at the half and never looked back. She got to stretch her legs tonight on the big track, and I think that helped her out, too.
She was definitely the best in this effort, Gabe. Prosecco Princess and Dexter Dunn. Dexter certainly in a good groove this evening.
He's been in a good groove throughout his career. He's 34 years old, guys. If you're new to the sport of harness racing, Dexter Dunn is a name you're going to want to keep in mind. He's a native of New Zealand. He came to the States 4 years ago. Since he's been to the States, he's been the National Driver of the Year all 4 years. You were seeing why right here tonight. His 5th win in 9 starts. Follows the Grand Circuit Trail around all the major stakes races. He'll be competing in all 12 Breeders' Crown Championships here over the next couple of nights for 8 different traders. So really, Dexter is a man that is sought after by all of the top barns in the sport. You can see why here, a patented drive. He made the lead, got a nice rating in the front end, really wrapped up an easy win here aboard Prosecco Princess. I know Dexter's happy with this night so far, but we've got those 4 $700,000 races up next. That'll be his next target.
I'm sure he'll look to add to that tally for sure. Gabe, as Dexter done 5 already tonight, and still the big ones, as Gabe was mentioning, to come. But Prosecco Princess decidedly best in the Pompano Park. More live racing when we come back. We'll also talk about the only horse to supplement into the Breeders' Crown, Help First Edition, and the incredible story of overcoming the odds.
Warfront. This son of Danzig ranks among the world's elite sires. Ranked #1 by percentage of stakes winners, graded stakes winners, and Grade 1 winners. No stallion has a better strike rate. Warfront is the sire of over 100 lifetime stakes winners, including some of the sport's most talented runners both at home and abroad.
Verstappen!
War Bomber in front. War Bomber's won the King Edward.
Here's the finish, Ancient Rome!
Warfront, standing at Claiborne Farm.
We are athletes. We are drivers. We are caretakers. We are owners. We are trainers. We are fans. We are harness racing.
And as they head for the final turn, it is Mac Lobel right behind him, Buckfinder. And now coming up 3 wide on the outside, it is Beverly Olympian, BJ Superstar right there, 3/4 in 1:30 4/5. And as they head for home, it is Mac Lobel. He's the one to catch. Buckfinder, the only one with a chance to get to him. Mac Lobel and John Campbell, they found their best stride. Buckfinder off the rail. They drive to the wire. Mac Lobel, Buckfinder. Here's the battle, but it's Mac Lobel winning in 1:59 1/5.
Mac Lobel in the 1986 2-year-old Colt. Trot, John Campbell, the winning driver.
Yeah, arguably the greatest of all time, John Campbell. Mac Lobel, too, arguably the greatest of all time. I mean, what can you say about this horse? Won 71 of his 94 starts.
Incredible.
I mean, that's incredible. 3 Breeders' Crowns, an Elite Lop, a Hambo. I mean, just something special. Not only the horse, but the driver, too.
Meanwhile, Prosecco Princess in the winner's circle. Let's go down to Gabe.
All right, thanks so much, guys. And standing by here with the winning trader, Virgil Morgan Jr. Virgil Morgan, the second all-time in wins in the sport of harness racing with nearly 8,000. Virgil, winning just never gets old.
No, you love to win. That's why we're in this, to win.
And talk about this field that we just saw here, Prosecco Princess. The race play out like you expected there. She made the lead, got a pretty nice rating, and had plenty of finishing.
Yeah, she's a really nice filly. We've had some hard luck with her. She wasn't staked much. She's out of a really good family. Bob Brady, Ken Jackson, and Dana Parham bought her at the Lexington sale, and it's unfortunate that she wasn't in some more stakes, but yeah, she's a nice filly. She'll be a nice 4-year-old.
And we were just discussing Dexter Dunn of the program, his 5th win of the night. I know you like to team up with Dexter when you can. Remarkable the success he's had here in the States with the limited time.
Yeah, he's just so kind to a horse and gets a lot out of him, and he's kind to him in the same time. So that's and he brings you something back. So no, Dexter's awesome.
I know it's cool to win one on the undercard, Virgil, but the big dance for you is in the upcoming 10th race, $700,000 on the line. You've got Sugar Instead. She's been a nice filly for you all season long. She's earned nearly $370,000, but she sort of heads into tonight as a long shot. How do you like her chances here in the upcoming 10th race?
You know, she's got a big obstacle with the 8-hole. She's a pleasure to train. Made some changes tonight. Hopefully change the strategy. I was a little disappointed in her last week in the stretch, but we made some changes, and hopefully they'll work.
And she was on the lead last week. You know, you think maybe a reversal of tactics could be in store here tonight as well.
Absolutely. You know, the longer stretch, and she actually likes to pass horses. So I think it's not going to, you know, she's got a 27, 26 and change quarter in her. Let's just try to put it on the end. All
right, Virgil Morgan, best of luck. He's got Sugar Instead from Post 8 here, $700,000 on the line. Congratulations, Virgil, with your win here with Prosecco Princess.
A nice victory from Prosecco Princess as she went off at even money. Gets the victory over the 6, 8, and 4. Prosecco Princess, the favorite, decidedly best with Dexter Dunn. A lot more to come this weekend, but Gabe already teased Sugar Instead, a horse coming up in race number 10. She's a long shot in this race, though, Paul, but it is the 2-year-old filly's 1-mile trot, the first Breeders' Crown race on the program. As Gabe mentioned, a $700,000 purse. Right now, Drawn Impression at 9-5-3, a horse that certainly has the pedigree to be a Breeders' Crown winner.
Yeah, she's looking to make her mommy proud here. Moticon Hanover was a 2-time Breeders' Crown winner, so taking some early money in here. I like the 2 buy around a little bit in here right now, taking not much money at 10-1.
Yeah, she's definitely an overlay at the moment, but the 2-year-old filly is coming up in the spotlight. Tomorrow, though, we'll have some of the biggest names in the sport, but we also will have an opportunity to learn a little bit about a hometown champion, the Indiana-sired, supplemented into the Breeders' Crown Help First Edition. Is truly an incredible story of overcoming the odds and finding success.
As Help First Edition strode down the stretch at Harris Hoosier Park at his Breeders' Crown elimination, the crowd raised the rafters at the Anderson Oval, and rightly so, as the sophomore trotter and Indiana champion is a hometown hero.
Help First Edition and John DeLong, and they are home free.
Help First Edition is one of 8 Indiana-sired horses to make their respective Breeders' Crown finals, but stands alone as the sole supplemental entry from 185 participants in the first round of Crown contests. His owners do not operate a large stable or often compete on harness racing's biggest stage. But connections felt the gelded son of Help is on the way should have the opportunity to compete with the sport's brightest stars. So they signed the check for $72,000 after a strong performance in the Indiana Super Final. Help First Edition will begin his bid for Breeders' Crown glory with regular reinsman John DeLong at the controls for conditioner Missy Essig and her husband Joe. Should he reign supreme, Help First Edition would join 22 horses to win a crown as a supplemental entry, including fellow Indiana star Freaky Feet Pete, who accomplished the feat in 2015.
And it's Freaky Feet Pete to win the Breeders' Crown.
The gelding is no stranger to adversity. Help First Edition survived a barn fire and injury as a freshman and did not compete at 2. He has only missed 1 check in 19 starts in 2023, while banking over $394,000.
It is Help First Edition and Ponda Jet, and to the inside point of perfect, the 3 of them come to the finish together, and Help First Edition prevails.
Help First Edition is accustomed to overcoming the odds. Will the gelding do so yet again to supply his connections with their first Breeders' Crown triumph and make dreams come true to become the pride of the Hoosier State? It all comes down to the crown.
We'll have the chance to see Help First Edition tomorrow on Saturday in race 11, the Breeders' Crown 3-year-old Trot, and a very cool horse, Paul, with such an amazing story.
Yeah, an amazing backstory, and you'd love to see it not only for the horse, but the owners too. And he's got a real shot in here in a wide open race with a great post tomorrow night.
Supplemented in, and as mentioned, the hometown hero, certainly the pride of Indiana, and will be a very easy horse to root for. As we'll take a look at a replay from him. This is back at Hoosier on October 21st.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? 8 for 19 this year. He's a Sire Stakes winner, and he sailed to pretty easy open length score in here, despite the fact that he was parked out for about a half mile. The good thing about this horse, though, is that he's really peaking at the right time, which is what you want to do coming into these races. And just the way he strided out here, once he got him straightened up a little bit, he took off to the wire. He figures in a race where a horse like Tactical Approach drew the 10-hole. So that's, you know, coming out of the second tier, it's going to be a little bit tough for him to work out a trip in here, and he's well posted in the middle, so I think he's got a shot tomorrow night.
From post 5, impressive in that Breeders' Crown elimination last week. That'll be one of the highlights on tomorrow's card. That 3-year-old Colt and Gelding 1-mile trot in race 11. Looking forward to that. See what Help First Edition can do. As you mentioned, a horse like Tactical Approach, now post 10, will be the second tier, and can be a really big disadvantage for horses, especially those that need a certain type of trip.
Yeah, and when you think about it, with a horse like Tactical Approach as well, your best bet is you're going to want to follow somebody that's going to leave. So the good news is, with only 10 horses in the field, try and find a horse that has a little bit more speed. You follow them, you try and get yourself a position and fire out of the gate. If you don't have speed, it's not a worry, but you're going to have a long road to hoe in this race.
A wide open, as you said, very interesting race, very interesting as far as the 3-year-olds are concerned overall, and we'll look forward to that tomorrow night. But tonight we have more live racing coming up, and it'll be our first Breeders' Crown event of the evening. When we come back, it's the 2-year-old fillies in the spotlight in the 1-mile trot, $700,000 purse. All that and more when we come back.
Approaches the quarter pole, and it's Gunite trying to fend off Elite Power, who's motoring like a big chestnut tank on the outside, and Elite Power and Gunite, Elite Power got him right on the money in 109.22 seconds.
Herman, the classic sire.
Experience the adrenaline-pumping, suspense-filled action of the Sport of Kings no matter where you are with Naira Bets. It's fast, easy, and secure. Download the app today and start winning with our lucrative weekly promotions, thrilling handicapping contests, and a one-of-a-kind VIP rewards program. Don't just watch horse racing, be a part of the action with Naira Bets.
Standardbreds give their all every time they hit the track. These noble horses are there for us, digging deep in weekly starts and careers spanning hundreds of races. And when they cross the finish line for the final time, it's our turn to be there for them. Experience the joy that comes from helping a Standardbred succeed beyond the track as a loyal riding horse, competitor, and companion. Learn how at newvocations.org.
We're back on America's Day at the Races, and it was Fright Night over at Harrah's Hoosier Park. Hi, Barbie. You're supposed to say hi, Ken.
Hi, Ken.
Even the horse is dressed up. I love this. This is amazing.
I do too. I think that is my favorite.
Oh, the chicken.
Look at the, I know.
Wow.
Look at the little guy.
It's,
the little guy.
Old McDonald's farm.
I know. I mean, somebody had to throw it at Jason there, of course, but I love that.
It's Chick-fil-A.
Yeah, it's Chick-fil-A.
Oh, that's hysterical. I love this. I love Halloween. Okay, I just want to throw that out there. I absolutely love Halloween. We went on a haunted hayride up in Boston Spa this weekend, which I was brought against my will, but I very much enjoyed it. Yeah.
Like you physically were kidnapped there, or was
No, my husband brought me. But people like jump out at you as you go, and you go through like a toxic wasteland, and then it's the chuck wagon, and it's all different like horror scenes, and they jump out at you. But it was a lot of fun. I love Halloween.
Coolest costume you ever wore?
Let's see. What was the coolest costume I ever wore? No, I did not dress as a pillow or anything like that. I was very into like the hippie vibes when I was younger.
Okay.
So I had this one costume. It was like this pink fringe vest and like black with pink bell bottoms, and I had a headband and like the peace sign and all of that. And there's a photo in my parents' house where I have about 8 chins in the in the photo. And of course, my husband, the first time he came to meet my parents at their home, took a photo of it and has that like stored somewhere, I'm sure, for a rainy day.
Broke it out.
Yeah, all of the chins when I was like 10. But yeah, look, I love Halloween.
All right, that's cool.
Are you dressing up this year?
Not. Me is scary enough. I think. No, actually, no. You know what? The coolest thing I ever did was somebody actually got me to put on briefly, and I have a picture on my phone. I could show you later. A full Scooby-Doo outfit, paws, everything, the head.
Fun.
Yeah, so that was a cool vibe. Yeah, you had no problem with like being able to run down and stuff like that. So it was fun.
Well, that's a perfect segue for your Scooby snacks going into the pick 4 coming up, and you have a ticket for us.
Yeah, trying to make some money with a $30 play in here. You know, this first leg, I'm using the 4 logical horses that are in here, the 1, the 2, the 3, the 4, and the 7. By a round for me. Can't say that the Elim didn't have action in it. She ran really well in the context of the race. I think once you keep her calm and settle her down, she does really well. The long shot play for me in there is the 7, Captain Luke. Had a nice trip last time out. I think this time with the wider draw, I'll get a helmet to actually be able to run against. And excuse me, Sierra Girl, I should say, pulled that train. I'm sorry, I'm getting way ahead of myself there. I'm sorry. 2-4-7 for me. In the Breeders' Crown 2-year-old pace, Captain Albano for me, much the horse to beat in there. Threw a little Storm Shadow in there. Dr. Ian Moore knows how to get those horses good and get them fast. And then the filly pace, it's all about geocentric for me. You know what? This horse is 9 for 9, looking to make it 10 for 10, perfect on the year. And then the last leg, I mean, it's all about TCI and Carl. Threw a little bit of the 4 and the 5 in there as well. $30 total play. I am now all confused. So, Gabe, please take over and let's see. Can we both hit this ticket together?
Well, let's hope so, guys. And I'm dressed as a handicapper here, so let's hope that I can pull off this costume here tonight as well. I've got a $22.50 play. And one thing I do want to mention, Paul, I love Sierra Girl in this spot. You just mentioned her on your ticket. She's nearly 30-1 right now from post 7 here in the upcoming 10th race. I'm 3 deep in this leg, but she is absolutely my live long shot in this race. Going to go 3 deep next race as well. Captain Albano, yes, I will concede he is the horse to beat in that spot, but I like Legendary Hanover. He's 15-1 in the morning line there. He was raced very easy to be a runner-up at his elimination. 700,000 on the line. There's going to be nothing raced easy here tonight, even from post 9. Geocentric, I agree. She's 9 for 9. She's perfect, guys. She's going to have the kitchen sink thrown at her tonight. You know, can she step up and pass the test? Yes, but I'm going to go 5 deep here. I think if we could beat Geocentric, this is our key to get paid. And then we come to the heavyweight matchup, guys. Carl versus TCI. I decided to dig my heels in and single here in the final leg of this ticket. I'm not going to use them both. I'm going to take a shot for Carl to turn the tables on TCI. He's my pick 4 single. We have it at $22.50 spin.
I like it, Gabe. Best of luck, Gabe and Paul with different singles in the sequences. Gabe looking to see Kyle turn the tables on TCI a little bit later on. Lots to look forward to, and that's a look at their pick 4 tickets. You can play all the action with Naira Bets. Head on over, get a $25 free play using promo code CUP25 along with your up to $200 deposit match after your first deposit. At any track, anywhere, anytime. Get started at nairabets.com today. The field assembling, getting ready for the first Breeders' Crown event of the evening. 2-year-old fillies and the 1-mile trot coming up next. I just saw the Scooby-Doo costume, by the way. Photographic evidence, top notch. Big fan.
You did like that.
I was very impressive. I was very, very impressive. Gabe's costume as a handicapper, also top notch, much appreciated. But as far as these 2-year-old fillies are concerned, as Sierra Girl, let's talk about her quickly because you and Gabe both mentioned her, and she's a big price. What's to like about her?
So she pulled that train last week in the Elim, And she hung around at the end, so she was overtaken a little bit to be a close-up third. She's better, in my opinion, if she's got a helmet to follow. I think she's going to get that tonight with that trip, so I think she's going to be better off tonight for that.
Favoritism going back and forth between the 3 and the 4. Right now, it's on the number 4, Rory Michelle, trained and driven by Aki Svanstedt. He has his hands all over this one, who's been in good form.
Yeah, she got a nice pocket trip last week behind Chap Armbro, so Aki swung her out. Obviously, he likes what he has under him. He didn't go to a catch driver. He's taking the reins himself, so he wants a shot at it. She's one of 3 or 4 that can win in here pretty easily, so I don't mind the long stretch for her tonight. Some of these horses that ran at like the 5/8, they need to get that longer stretch. They could stretch their legs a little bit out more, get their stride going.
Do you feel like with the setup of this race at Harris Hoosier Park and the longer stretches you mentioned, different dynamics, a different way that the horses are going to cover ground?
Yeah, sometimes a night like tonight, you're definitely going to want to be able to be closer up, I think. Not many races have fallen apart so far.
We'll meet the field starting off with Soiree Hanover.
Yeah, she earned her way into the finals with the Doherty Memorial win. She won the Stallion Series down at the Red Mile last time out. She looked sharp doing it. She's got the rail here. She'll probably work out the same trip she had last time.
Framing up nicely on the track. There's By Around.
You can't say the Olymp didn't have action. A lot of horses started moving. She's a good horse. She just needs to be kept calm, settle down, let her do her thing. She's my top pick in here.
6-1, a nice price as well. There's Drawn Impression.
Talked about her out of Emoticon Hanover. She charged up to the lead. Second over last time, won comfortably. Smart filly. We'll see what happens.
5-2 right now with that big pedigree. Very cool to see the progeny of a horse so successful in these races. Her first foal, Emoticon Hanover. There's the number 4, Rory Michelle.
She's a nice horse to drive. She's very easygoing. Shouldn't mind the longer stretches. And like I said, she's one of 3 or 4 that can win in here.
2-1 right now as your favorite at the moment. Aki Svanstedt, we talked about, certainly knows this filly quite well.
Yeah, he's got away with the trotters as well, and he's got away with the ladies.
And yeah, as we mentioned, he's a trainer, driver, certainly very familiar with this filly. Here is a big price, the number 5, Chapellonia.
You know, arguably with a better trip and not having to weave her way through traffic like she did, she probably would have won that a limb last week, too. I mean, she outruns her odds more times than not. She'll be looking for a setup in here, too. Got to see if the race comes apart in here. She does have a good post, and she's got a really nice price if you want to back her.
A little bit of a trip last time in the Elim as well, as she comes out of that second behind By Around. And we'll see what she does at 28-1, a big price right now. Well, it's Dexter Dunn's world today, and we're all living in it. Here is the number 6, Chaparmbro. I just have to say it slowly.
Chaparmbro.
Yes.
Dexter looking for the 6-pack.
I practiced coming in
phonetically, we're going to sound about right. So he had the run of the race, an easy time of it up front in the Elim. She did. So eventually end up yielding to Rory Michelle.
Sierra Girl, we talked about, still a generous price.
You know what? She's going to get a helmet to follow in here, and that makes her tougher. So she doesn't have to do the heavy lifting this time around. So we'll see how it works out from post 7 for her.
Trainer Virgil Morgan had a nice win in the last race. Here's his charge, Sugar Instead.
He knows how to win races, made the top rather easily, and back down the half mile just couldn't last, was overtaken in the stretch. I mean, I guess she's going to be used a little bit from out there. I'm just not sure the race dynamics are going to be in her favor. We'll see what happens.
Number 9, Senorita Palema.
You know, almost got shuffled back to last before uncorking that rally to be second when Drawn Impression won the Elim. I guess in some ways, you know, she wanted to go back down that second quarter, so she got shuffled. Now she's got post 9. I'm just not sure she's good enough.
That is the 3rd charge for Aki Svanstedt in here. And here is Date Night Hanover.
You know, it's kind of unfortunate, sorry about that she drew post 10 in here. I'm not really sure why she wasn't pushed a little bit more in the Elim when it was apparent that she wasn't going to finish 3rd. She kind of just trotted easy to the wire, so I'm not backing her from that second tier tonight, but we'll see what happens.
Tough trip. By Around, who Paul likes coming in here, got the best of Sierra Girl. As we'll take a look at By Around and tell us what you liked about this one. This is from the elimination.
Yeah, there was a lot of action in that Elim going to the half. I think 6 or 7 of the horses finally all came together here at the top of the stretch and mid-stretch. They're going to fan out here. The race completely came apart in here, and I don't know if she's going to get that kind of setup again that she, you know, got in here. Like I said, she's a really good horse, and she just needs to be kept calm and settle down and let her do her thing. And she's got that love for going second and third over, so I don't worry about her that much. In here, I just question whether or not the race is going to come apart from her. But at the price she is tonight, I'm willing to back her.
She needs to get a little bit of a setup.
Yeah, she's going to need to get a little bit of a setup, put a little bit of pace in here. But I think she's worth the value off the morning line right now.
Getting a bit of a price on her by around. Pretty interesting with the 2-year-old fillies wide open. Gabe and Jess are with us. First Breeders' Crown event of the evening. Guys, what are your thoughts?
$700,000 on the line for those 2-year-old trotting fillies. A nice field of 10 conducted here, Gabe. And we go a couple of different ways in here, but I think there's a lot of value to be found in here. Of course, Soiree Hanover had a bye into the final, so she hasn't raced since that second weekend in Lexington. But let's get right into it. Your top pick is Sierra Girl. Aki Svan said send a couple in here. She was third by a neck. Scotty Z takes over the driving in here tonight, and you're getting a good price on her.
You know, we really are, Jess. 18 to 1 on the board. I love Sierra Girl in this spot from post 7. She just missed a neck, as you said last week. She did a lot of heavy lifting there. In fact, she took over the lead briefly. It was a wild scramble to finish. She was very close in that photo. Prior to that, down in Lexington, she missed a head to buy around here the 2. And she was really flying late. Had she gotten out sooner, she was going to defeat by around there on October the 7th, the Red Mile. So I just think Sierra Girl comes into this race very, very sharp. You get the driver change you just indicated. Scott Ziron, he's going to be the leading driver in the sport this season. I think he'll be the driver of the year. He won the Hambletonian. He won the Little Brown Jug. He's just been all over the place. I love first-time Scotty Z. The reason why that's the case, trainer Oka Svanstedt is going to drive the 4 Warwi Michelle, who he co-owns and trains as well. So with Svanstedt opting to the 4, that opened the 7 Sierra Girl up, and she is going to get, for my money, the driver of the year in the sport.
And, you know, they don't call Scotty Z the money man for nothing. He seems to always have horses in the right spots when it comes to these big money races. And another horse, we're getting a pretty decent price on. That is the 2 elimination winner by around. And we were just talking about this off camera. If you want to watch a trotter trot so nicely on the racetrack, watch by around. No overcheck, no head pulls, just trotting boots. She digs her head down in deep, and she's been super consistent all year long as well. Hasn't missed the board, 6 of 8 on the season. Just got up by a nose in that elimination. She gets post 2 to work with. What are your thoughts on this one?
You got to respect her credentials, Jess. She's 6 of 8 in her career. She just knows how to get the job done. And as you said, when we see the 2 by around of the track, she knows she's stepping in the ring. She's got her head down. She is all business. I love that about her. I'm actually shocked she's back here at 7 to 1. I'm not sure that we've gotten a price that good on her, Jess, since all the way back at her career debut, where she upset there at 17 to 1. So with this race being so competitive, so uber competitive, in fact, the odds pretty good here. Cross away if you have a strong opinion, including by around. That is a shockingly generous price. She was 7 to 2 on the morning line.
Soiree Hanover is a horse that had the bye into the final after winning the Jim Doherty here back on September the 15th. Now, talked to a few different trainers, and they also think it's important for a horse to have a start over this Hoosier Park Oval because this stretch is very long. This horse won the International Stallion in Lexington. You get the rail to work with. I know the connections are confident. She's had a really good summer. She's had a really good, couple of weeks leading up into it. And you're getting 5 to 2 on her.
Yeah, I talked to Tim Dietrich a little earlier back in the paddock, her driver, of course. And Timmy said he wasn't thrilled with post 1, but I said it has to be better than post 9. That was on the far outside the last time Soiree Hanover raced here at Hoosier Park, couple of starts back. She didn't opt for the bye, as you mentioned there, Jess, but she's a contender here. How long is the Hoosier Park stretch? Well, it's the longest in the sport of harness racing, 1,255 feet. So you've got a dedicated closer here, but the one Soiree Hanover, you know she is going to be gobbling up ground in the late stages. She's going to love every inch of this Hoosier Park long stretch.
The favorite on the board right now is the 3 Drawn Impression. This is the first full out of a Monocon Hanover. Only 1 blemish in her career so far. That come in the Mohawk Million. Unfortunate there, 4 or 5 on the season. Qualified a couple of times before a very nice elimination win. What are your impressions on this one?
She won as easy as she pleased her last week, Jess. So she did only trot in 157. So I think the fans, probably you consider that a little slower, indeed, than the other divisions. But she did it so easily. Visually, it was very impressive. The question is, that was her first start in quite some time. This is just her second start off a bit of a layoff. Is she going to be ready to fire with her fastball tonight? That was my concern with the 3 Drawn Impression. But the fans are obviously very confident, Jess. 2 to 1 right now. She's up there as your co-favorite.
And, of course, the other co-favorite favorite is Warwi Michelle. A field of 10 for the $700,000 Breeders' Crown Final for those 2-year-old trotting fillies. It's going to be a shootout of a race, I believe. Plenty of action, plenty of prices. We'll send it up to Michael Chamberlain for the call.
Thank you, Emily. The Diamond Creek starting gate now rolling for race 10, the first of 12 Breeders' Crown races this weekend. The 2-year-old filly Trot, co-favorites at 2-1 are Drawn Impression and Warwi Michelle. Here they come. They are up. Date Night Hanover went off stride prior to the start. Moving out for the lead from the far outside is Senorita Palema. Sugar Instead is second, and a quick 2.5 length gap back to Warwi Michelle. Then racing fourth is Drawn Impression. Soiree Hanover is to the inside, racing fifth. Chap Armbro is caught on the outside as they move on the turn. By Around is next. Then comes Chapalonia and Sierra Girl with that opening quarter up in 27-3. On the back stretch, in the lead is Senorita Palema and Yannick Gingras in front here by 1.5 lengths. Sugar Instead tracks from second, and Warwi Michelle is in good position third. Drawn Impression another 1.5 lengths back, then Soiree Hanover. By Around is to the outside of Chapalonia. Chap Armbro is next and also wide. Then Sierra Girl, and a long way back to Date Night Hanover as they pass the half in 57-2. 29-4 the second quarter. Moving on to the second turn, Senorita Palema 67-1 and has been in front every step of the way. Sugar Instead is second. Warwi Michelle now moves to the outside and is advancing from third. Drawn Impression is also up on the outside, second over, and third over is Soiree Hanover. Chapalonia to the inside as they now move into the stretch. Sugar Instead went off stride. 3/4 up, 125-2. Senorita Palema still there by a length. Warwi Michelle on the outside. Drawn Impression. Soiree Hanover. Here comes Warwi Michelle now to put ahead in front past the 8th pole. Senorita Palema not going away. Trying to rally through on the inside is Chapalonia. On the far outside coming on is Soiree Hanover. Drawn Impression there too. It is a wild finish, but I do believe Warwi Michelle might have held on. But a photo with Soiree Hanover. Those two were right together on the line. Also there were Drawn Impression and By Around. It was a cavalry charge finish, 153-4.
They made it exciting, that's for sure. Looks like the number 4, Warwi Michelle, might have held on, but closest appears to be the number 1, Soiree Hanover. Everybody flying towards the finish line, Paul.
Well, the race certainly did end up coming apart thanks to Senorita Palema going out there at like 68-1. And like we were mentioning, well, you mentioned too, that the tail was swishing on Warwi Michelle. She was like, where is that wire? And I think she, ooh, that's close. I think she just held. This view will be better. Yeah, she just held. Ake's World, we're living in it. I needed like an extra 50 feet. A 1,300-foot stretch would have got By Around.
By Around was running late too, but yes, the number 4, Warwi Michelle, so game. You can see her kind of looking actually to her outside as well. That's a very cool angle. She sees the competition coming to her outside, digging in, and looks like she prevailed in that photo finish. That certainly was a thriller.
Yeah, and she got the easiest trip out of everybody that was closing from off the pace. She was sitting in that third spot behind the 2 long shots, and she kind of inherited that pocket role when Sugar Instead went off stride and knocked over one of the pylons, as a matter of fact. And just
a couple of horses going off stride.
Yeah, before the break, too, Date Night Hanover went off stride as well, so a couple of long shots off stride there. But Ake Svanstedt with a nice filly here gets the job done in here. And like we said earlier, she's a nice horse. She's easy to drive, and she obviously doesn't mind those longer stretches. And she had her eye on the competition and My pick 4 continues, so that's always a positive.
Always a good thing, that's for sure. Aki Svanstedt sent out 3 in this race. This is the one that he was driving. It was 4-1-2-3 under the line in race 10, the Breeders' Crown 2-year-old trotting fillies. Warwi Michelle, incredibly game, getting the victory here. Prices, reactions, and more when we come back, and plenty more Breeders' Crown action after this on America's Day at the Races.
Cowpokes, find out why we wear the brand.
Dragon's Lair by 2 1/4. Annihilator on the outside. Pershing Square on the outside. Broadway Express less than an 8. It's Dragon's Lair by 2 1/2. Here comes Annihilator and Broadway Express. Dragon's Lair, Annihilator, Dragon's Lair wins the Breeders' Crown. 154, 1/5, another world's record.
1984 2-year-old pace with Dragon's Lair upsetting Annihilator. Love looking back at some of the tremendous victories in these Breeders' Crown races throughout the years.
Yeah, it's always great to look back at them, and I just love the old sulkies as well, and the way that those guys are just whipping and driving on the horses. And it was great for a hometown horse like that to score a huge win over a beast in Niatros.
As we just saw, the number 4, Warwi Michelle, victorious in the Breeders' Crown 2-year-old fillies trot in this past race, and she was incredibly game, coming down to the wire with a cavalry charge, truly chasing her and able to hold her nose down first.
Yeah, looking at her competition, was able to hold them off and get the job done. And I know some are going to make the argument now that she's had 2 real cozy trips in a row, but you know something? She was a New Jersey Classic winner. She's parlayed that into a Breeders' Crown, a limb, and also a Breeders' Crown win. So this was a big race for her. And while she got the run of the race, it's not like she didn't run. And she held off two actually three really good horses in Sorry Hanover and Buy Around and Drawn Impression.
She was 3 for 8 on this year. Coming into this race, she went off $5 winner Wara Wee Michelle, taking a lot of attention. She obviously was a logical one, but certainly this elevates her in the way that she was, as you said, able to hold off some talented competition.
Yeah, now it also makes her go into a 3-year-old season and looking sharp doing it, which is what it's all about. So maybe a little time off, and then we'll start to see her again next year. Get ready and gear up for some big races. Maybe some Hambo Oaks coming up. You never know.
Certainly exciting. Got to dream big, that's for sure. As I mean, these types of races, like we said, so important. And while it may not necessarily decide the divisional honors, like you said, certainly a big factor in how these horses do stack up against the best competition. Race 11, the Breeders' Crown 2-year-old Colt and Geldings in the spotlight in the 1 mile pace. $700,000 purse as well. Captain Albano, a horse who is 7 for 8 lifetime. He's won 6 in a row, has been absolutely tremendous lately. 2-5 right now, no surprise.
Legitimately 2-5 as well. I mean, he was wrapped up last week too. And when you watch the race and you go back, he had his ears pricked up and he had more in the tank. And that's what's scary about it, because he ran really well last week. So was close to being another single for me tonight, but I threw a couple of other horses in. But make no mistake, he's way the horse to beat.
As a reminder, which are the other ones that you had interest in this race?
So I have Storm Shadow, the 4 in here. 32-1 upset in the Super Stakes up in Ontario was not a fluke. What I like about this horse is Dr. Ian Moore, the trainer, knows how to get these kind of horses good fast. And when they get good, look out. They can run really well. So Sat Pocket made a nice outside move in that limb. Might be a little bit of a handful in here, but I still think they're all still chasing. And for me, also, Captain Luke was another horse looking at took a short lead, got nipped by Storm Shadow in that limb as well. So those are a couple of horses I'm looking at to possibly upset the Captain Albano.
We'll see if they can get around Captain Albano. That will be the tall order coming in this Breeders' Crown. As in the past race, we saw Wara Wee Michelle victorious. Let's head down to Jessica with the winning connections.
Hold on, she just walked away. She just walked away. Well, Wara Wee Michelle got the job done. We're just waiting for assistant trainer Sarah Sponset. Here she comes. Nope, no worries. Congratulations. Busy in the winner's circle. Let's talk about Wara Wee Michelle. There was a couple of levers to her outside. You couldn't have been happier with the way the race shaped up.
No, I mean, she's fast too, but British Crown, you never know what the other drivers are doing, so you cannot have to make the decision when you're behind the gate and see what they're doing. But she got a very nice trip, and the fraction was there, and she loves to race on the helmet too or on the front, so she kind of uncomplicated like that. So very happy. It was a long stretch though to road her home. I wanted the finish line to come.
I was just going to ask you that, this Hoosier Park surface, that stretch is really long, and she had a really game effort last week in her elimination. How important is it for a horse to have that start under their belt going into a big money race like this?
It's really maybe not the most important thing. You have to keep them sharp up for this, but also mentally, young horses having that stride finishing, that's tough on many of them. And it's a late end of the season, and many horses are tired from racing. And you need that one to still have that light to really want to do it. But it was a nice group that finished together, so it was nice to see.
What were you thinking when they hit the wire?
No, I was by myself in the locker room, and I was like, go! And she made it.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
There you have it. Wara Wee Michelle. It takes the final for those 2-year-old Trot and fillies. We'll send it back to Acacia and Paul.
Jessica, thank you, Wara Wee Michelle. You can feel the emotion from Sarah, too, and how excited she got talking about that finish. When we come back, we'll take a look back at the ace of pace, the great Bulldog Hanover, going back to his 2022 Breeders' Crown victory after this.
My grandfather instilled in me that there's no such thing as luck. He said luck is where hard work meets opportunity.
Race Lens is the most in-depth product in horse racing with unique features found nowhere else. True odds, predictive analysis, and pace projection. Race Lens. It will change the way you follow horse racing and take your game to the next level.
There's a big, bold, beautiful world waiting to be explored by you and your friends, of course. But not just any friends, the best of friends. The kind of friends who let you do you. Because in this world, it's positive vibes only. And when you get in the zone here, you stay a while. These aren't just good times, they're the best of times. And your time is now. So come explore. Resorts World.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. RTN has packages that start at $5 per month.
Three-quarters of a mile for Bulldog Hanover, and he's over there in 1:20.3. Right there, second is Alleywag Hanover, starting to edge from a pocket, but he'll have to make up 2 on Bulldog Hanover, and Bulldog Hanover pacing out to a 3-length lead now. Back into second, fully extended, is Alleywag Hanover. Tattoo Artist scrambles for Racetrack late on the outside third. It is Bulldog Hanover. He is opening up in deep stretch now to a 5-length lead, and it's Bulldog Hanover, a crowning moment on Canadian soil for Bulldog Hanover.
Okay. Bulldog Hanover in the 2022 Breeders' Crown Open pace after what was truly a sensational year.
Yeah, amazing what this horse did to bring people into the game and the love that people had for him. And loving life now at Sealster Farm.
Look at all the media surrounding him,
I know,
too.
he knows.
I think even Barbara Livingston traveled to see him.
And that's a big deal.
I know.
If you can get Barbara to shoot you,
that's how you know you made it.
Yeah, he made it. So, loving life now, like I said, at Sealster Farm. And the crazy thing about him was he was bred to 79 mares while he was still racing in 2022. I don't know if you knew that.
I did not know that.
Yeah, so imagine that, being bred and racing. All that stuff. He had his work cut out for him.
Certainly a star on the track. We'll see what he does as a stallion. Oh, what a cool, cool horse he was. As we turn the page, heading on to race 11, 1-mile pace for the 2-year-old Colts and Gelding Breeders' Crown event. Captain Pompano, very much the horse to beat after winning 6 in a row.
Yeah, legitimately the horse to beat here. He was 4-5 on the line. He's 2-5 here. He makes a lot of sense.
We'll meet the rest of the field, though, starting off at the 1 newsroom.
Had to work last week to get to the top, fast quarter. After that, he was able to settle down. He got worn down, settled for third. Now isn't the time to be going the wrong way, though. I just expected better from him last week. He can win, though.
5-1 right now. We'll see if he can turn things around, get back on form, but we'll certainly have to get around his neighbor, as will the rest of the field as well. A horse that certainly doesn't have any questions about what type of form he's in. Your favorite, Captain Albano.
Yeah, Todd McCarthy, that is. I'm saying, did the old brush and crush last week. They went pretty quick, though, 55-4 to that half. Once he got to the top, he got separation. He never looked back. Like I said, the ears were pricked up. He has something left. He's the horse to beat by far. He's got a nice inside post to do it.
Here's the 3. Better is nice.
Homebred for Team Melania. Got that third over trip last time out and a heads-up drive by AMAC. Gunned down Gem Quality late. It was the right move to retreat after pushing it off the gate. Didn't work for him. He's a fun little horse, and he's got a crazy amount of speed in him. And he's over $500,000 already in earnings.
Certainly a family horse as well. Here's the 4, Storm Shadow.
I like this horse a little bit. He backed up that 32-1 upset up in Canada by winning the Elim over Captain Luke's at the pocket. Made a nice move, battled him down the stretch. And like I said, Dr. Ian Moore knows how to get these horses ready.
The 5, Gem Quality.
Made that first overstorm to the top over newsroom, get some separation on the field, got nailed late by Better is nice. It was a good effort. He's posted well tonight. I mean, I expect the same tactics, just a question of whether or not it'll work in here.
And does have Dexter Dunn. Tim Tetrick, though, will be driving the 6, Boston Rocks.
Went to the top, got it pretty easily, got a breather before the half, picked it up again, got some separation, but that stretch as long as we've seen, and he got swallowed up late, beaten third. Post gives him options. Wasn't too crazy, though, about the way he gave it up last time.
Here's the 7, Captain Luke, yet to have a win, but he's always been right there.
You know what? Yeah, and he got nipped late by Storm Shadow, so it was a solid effort. Tonight with the wider draw, he's going to have a little helmet to follow. Maybe that'll make a little bit of difference.
Here's a long shot, the number 8, Nuclear.
He did get that inside run to finish third in the Captain Albano limb. It's a long shot against this group, though, tonight.
Big price on the board at the moment. Taking a little bit of attention. Here's the 9, Legendary Hanover, has to overcome the draw.
Yeah, he's overcome that, and not for anything. I mean, I'm not sure what happened or why it took him longer to get rolling, but he did close to be a distant second behind Captain Albano. I mean, he's got no favors, as you said, with the draw in here. We'll see what happens.
And second tier, big price on the board. Here's Noblesville.
He was the 4th place finisher in the Elim with the highest earnings. So that's why he got in. So he need that, they did that. If you weren't in the top 3 in the 3 Elims and you ran 4th and you had the highest earnings, you got in. That's what happens. He's got the second tier tonight. He's a long shot against this group. He'd have to do a lot better to win.
Well, that's the field for the Colts and Geldings in the 1 mile pace coming up. Trainer Tony Alanya sends out 2. Let's go down to Jessica.
Thanks, Acacia. Standing by with trainer Tony Alanya. Yes, send out 2 in the 2-year-old Colt Pace final for the Breeders' Crown. Let's start with Better is Nice. He was a New Jersey Sire Stake champion, a Kentucky Sire Stake champion. A very nice colt for you guys this season.
Yeah, he's been extra special, especially since we did breeding. Marvin Katz and I are the breeders on the horse. We ran him through the ring. He brought 30,000, and I just wasn't willing to let him go for that. So I bought him back, and with some partners, Pride Stable and Seth Rosenfeld.
First crop of the better's wishes, and he just seems so mighty on the racetrack. He really has a way of turning his foot, tracking for home. Let's talk about his elimination. He fought right to the wire.
Yeah, he really did. As I go back and watch the replay after the race, of course, I'm sitting there watching it, and at the head of the lane, I think, okay, he's going to be 3rd. He's going to make the final, and then, okay, it looks like he's going to get up for 2nd, and he just kept giving and giving and giving, and, he loves to track horses down, and, it's a tough horse to get by, the Colt of Chris's, and, he did it right down by the wire.
Let's talk, how did he come out of that race, first and foremost, and how is he coming into the race? Because I think it's so important for horses to have a start over this Hoosier Park surface, because that stretch is really long.
Yeah, I believe so. He wasn't at his best the second week of Lexington, so I think the start last week really helped him get back on, all the way back on form. He couldn't have been any better. He had a good week at home. We shipped him back to the Red Mile, so there's no better place, to be able to train in between starts than there. And, he seems like all systems go for tonight.
We wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
We'll send it back to you guys at the desk.
Jessica, thank you. Big chances for Team Alanya in this upcoming race. Paul, your top pick, you said you were going to try to go against Captain Albano here?
No, he's my top pick. But in the pick 4, though, I do have.
Fair enough.
Yeah, the 4 and the 7. I think Albano's way the horse to beat in here, 2 to 5. I got a little cute in the pick 4. Like I said, Storm Shadow is a horse that I really like in here at 18 to 1. He sat the pocket, made the outside move, and my thing is if he can get really good position from that inside post again, we've seen tonight where if you could make that first move, get to the top, you've been running very, very well. I think he's a horse that can do that, and Captain Luke is another horse, too, that I think can get that first or second over trip in here. But it's all about Captain Albano for me with some fringe players.
He's 1 to 2 right now, Gabe, and Jess, Captain Albano, is it his race to lose?
Acacia, I believe so, but I think Gabe is going to go a different way in here. Legendary Hanover. He was undefeated before going into that Metro final, Gabe. Back-to-back second-place finishes. Look at that final quarter last time out, 25-3. Anything can happen in a horse race, but he is going to have to overcome a post 9.
Yeah, that's the trouble, Jess, but that's also inflating the price. Had this Colt drawn inside, last week he went off 2 to 1 against Captain Albano. Tonight you're getting 5 to 1. So you're getting over double the price. I think he's going to have to leave the gate. I think he's going to have to get some position. But for anyone that watched that elimination last week, you just had to be in the top 3 to make the final. The Connections opted to race him very conservatively, Jess. He came rolling with an absolute full head of steam. He made up 7 lengths in the stretch. That's a huge margin to make up. He ended up as a runner-up there to the heavily favored here, Captain Albano. And I just don't think there's as much separating these two colts as that odds board indicates. I am willing to concede that Captain Albano is a colt to beat, but he's 1 to 2 right there. You're getting a huge price comparatively on the non-Legendary Hanover.
And Storm Shadow is the other Canadian invader in here. A very solid win. He was a winner in his Ontario Sire Stake final odds of 32 to 1. Bet down to the favorite last time out, and he's 7 to 1.
Yeah, he's won 3 in a row. He's razor sharp. I think he's got good early speed. I think driver Bob McClure is going to utilize that, and I think he'll get out there and get a nice trip.
The 2-year-old Colt and Gelding Pacers are heading behind the gate. It's a solid field of 10 for the Breeders' Crown final. We'll send it up to Michael Chamberlain Chamberlain for the call.
Captain Albano, 9-2, Legendary Hanover. Here they come. And there is a recall. There is a recall.
So a recall in race 11 as we saw the one newsroom go off stride. What's going to be the protocol here, Paul?
I guess they're going to look and see what caused the recall first, or who caused the recall, and if there was any issues with equipment that caused the recall. But I guess that's something we're going to have to find out from Gabe and Jess to let us know what happened with the recall as far as that goes. But they'll reline them up, and if I'm pretty sure if the same horse does it again, the horse will end up having to be scratched. I'm not sure if that's still a thing that they're doing.
Well, you ask and you shall receive. Gabe and Jess, what's going on?
So it looks like Newsroom made a little bit of a break behind the gate, causing interference with the 10. As we had mentioned, the 10 is a trailer here at Hoosier Park. But, you know, the unfortunate part about a recall is these 2-year-olds were geared up behind the gate, Gabe. Now they have to kind of, you know, regroup as they go. It'll be interesting to see what shapes up now, because it is hard to gear those horses down, reline up, and then send them behind the gate.
Yeah, we'll see, because when they're behind that gate, Jess, they're going to battle. But you're exactly right. When Newsroom made that break in stride, Noblesville was sort of following in behind him there from the second tier. So the starter deemed that was unfair. Noblesville got interfered with. So when that happens, you're forced to call as a recall. You can't give a horse an unfair start. So that's the key here. But this does completely change the complexion, because, you know, who is going to be able to sort of circle the wagons here, go back, and come back with the very best punch.
And it's very unlikely for Newsroom to even make a bobble. We haven't seen him put in any blemishes on the racetrack so far. So curious to know why that happened. And like you had mentioned, it is going to be interesting to see who can regroup, because with these younger horses, not very often do they have recalls, if ever. And you just don't know how they're going to react to that.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Most of these horses have made 6, 7, 8 starts throughout their entire career at this point. They're 2-year-olds, their first season of racing. So probably the first time that any of these colts have been in this situation. Again, it's go time. When they go behind that gate, they're ready to go. So it's a little bit different scenario. It's going to take someone to regroup here at a short amount of time.
So it'll be interesting, because this is what happens in harness racing. When there is a recall, they have to fold the gate of the wings on the gate. The gate will go all the way back around. The horses will make a turn to go back in the other direction, make another turn, and line up again 1 through 9 on the gate with 10 trailing, and they'll start again. I believe Paul is correct. If Newsroom does cause another recall, he would be scratched. Let's hope that's not the case here.
Yeah, let's hope not. And horses are like humans. They all have different personalities,
Right.
Jess. So some horses, this wouldn't bother. They're going to go turn and go right back to the gate, and it's just another day at the office. Other horses that may be a little more headstrong, you know, this is causing a little chaos for both driver and horse at this moment. You know, so that's the key. You know, what horse is going to handle a little adversity here that's unforeseen, of course, and obviously it's the biggest dance of the year with $700,000 on the line.
You know, I was able to catch up with Ronnie Burke earlier in the night, and we'll kind of hear that interview later. But my girl EJ was in a scenario last week where a horse pulled a shoe. She went back into the paddock to get that fixed. My girl EJ, he was afraid she was going to be washed out on the racetrack, so they were calming her down, able to walk. With these Colts and Geldings, it could be a whole new story.
Yeah, it really is. And I was trying to get a good look there at some of the Colts as they went back by us here to head back towards that start and get up at the far turn once more. No, nothing really stood out. They all seem to be minding their manners. We do have an outrider here. If someone gets a little too out of control, she'll be here to provide her assistance as well. But again, it's just a different dimension. And, you know, we have trouble enough predicting what's going to happen on the track when we feel like we've got a scenario we've seen before. This one we haven't. Neither of those horses on the track.
All right, so the field of 10 is going to regroup here behind the gate and line up once again. We'll hope for a smooth start this time. We'll send it back to you, Paul and Acacia.
Jess, thank you so much. And both of you, I really appreciate the insight as we see the horses starting to line up once again. Paul, I often say with 2-year-olds, they're like Christmas lights. One goes out and they all go out. Sometimes it's a chain reaction, and they're so inexperienced at this stage too.
Yeah, and they all start acting up. We've seen that 100 times here on the thoroughbred side. One acts up at the gate. They all have to do the same thing and show up. For the most part, they said that everybody was behaving nicely. Hopefully nothing will happen again heading to the gate here, because if Newsroom jumps it again, they're going to have to scratch Newsroom.
Looks like everything is smooth so far. Take 2 for the 2-year-old Pacers. Here's Michael Chamberlain with the call.
Here they come. They are up. Good beginning for Gem Quality in the center. To the inside, Captain Albano, and Legendary Hanover moves up from the outside post. Storm Shadow fourth. Newsroom is fifth, followed by Better Is Nice. Noblesville from the second tier is right there. And seventh position, racing eighth, Boston Rocks. And then ninth is Captain Luke. Nuclear is the trailer, following a fast first quarter of 26 seconds. Legendary Hanover is the pace setter. Pocketed second is Gem Quality. Captain Albano next in third. After that, it's Storm Shadow with Newsroom fifth. Through on the inside is Noblesville. Then to the outside, Better Is Nice. The next two are Captain Luke and Boston Rocks. The trailer is Nuclear. As the field comes to the half-mile pole, passing there in 54 and 2. Second quarter, 28 and 2. And there goes the favorite, Captain Albano, up to take the lead. Legendary Hanover now back in second. Newsroom looms on the outside third. Gem Quality is fourth. Advancing second over is Better Is Nice. Then to the inside, Storm Shadow. Third over is Boston Rocks, trying to get up into it with Nuclear. Noblesville to the inside, and Captain Luke is 10th and last. Three-quarter time, 1:23. Into the stretch they come. Captain Albano now has it by 3 lengths. Legendary Hanover, Newsroom, and in between horses, Gem Quality. Trying to come through down on the pylons is Storm Shadow. Captain Albano in front. Here comes Gem Quality. Gem Quality on the outside has taken the lead for Dexter Dunn, and it is Gem Quality with a 23-1 Breeders' Crown upset. Captain Albano was second. Third was Storm Shadow. Nuclear fourth in 150 flat.
A big price upset and a 6th victory this evening for driver Dexter Dunn. Gem Quality able to run down the heavy favorite.
Yeah, I mean, almost worked out the same trip that he had last time out. So gunned down your heavy favorite in Captain Albano here. You know what? Captain Albano made the lead. The half was 54 and 2. I mean, it was kind of a soft 28 and 2 second quarter, and 3 quarters in 123. Picked up the pace a little bit, 150 flat to go to the wire, but make no mistake, this was a good effort from a horse who was well posted in here tonight. So Dexter Dunn, 6-pack.
What a day for him, that's for sure. And these two put some separation on the rest of the field, Gabe, as we see the heavy favorite defeated.
Acacia, we did see the upset here, and you have to tip your hat to Gem Quality because it wasn't like he got set up. I mean, he earned this win. He left the gate. He was out there part of that early scramble. He was battling the 9 there around the opening turn. Ultimately, he would end up sitting third when that favorite Captain Albano brushed to the lead, but he still had plenty enough of a punch when he got out late here. This is a new track record, I'm being told, guys. 150 flat. So again, the Colt was used at both ends of the race here, off the wings, and then again at the finish, 23-1, and you just could not say enough things for Dexter Dunn to get his 6th win on the card to the first 11th tonight. I'd mentioned he's been in the States 4 years. He's been the United States Hardest Riders Driver of the Year 4 consecutive years since he's been in the States. And guys, we're seeing a big reason why here. You rarely get this type of price, so 23-1.
He's putting on a show tonight, Gabe, that's for sure. 23-1 on Gem Quality, a new track record as well. Over your 2-5 favorite, and some big prices underneath that, 5, 2, 4, 8. Gem Quality defeating the big favorite Captain Albano in a thriller in the 2-year-old Colts and Gelding's 1-mile pace for the Breeders' Crown. Definitely some excitement and a very exciting day for driver Dexter Dunn. Prices and reactions and a whole lot more when we come back. The Breeders' Crown night continues from Harris Hoosier Park after this.
Premier Acres, located in northern Indiana, a premier breeding farm with state-of-the-art facilities and a team of dedicated caretakers. An impressive roster with some of the leading sires, including Temporal Hanover, Best in Show, Freaky Feet Pete, and more. Premier Acres, where winners are bred.
The racing is fast and exciting at the picturesque Woodbine and Woodbine Mohawk Park racetracks in Ontario, Canada. Woodbine Standardbred, home of the Pepsi North America Cup, a summer classic.
Pebble Beach in Iran.
And Woodbine Thoroughbred, home of the historic King's Plate.
But the mighty filly has devastated them.
Full fields, exotic wagers, iconic events. Play Woodbine Thoroughbred and Woodbine Standardbred today at your favorite wagering location.
Quarters 122 and 4 into the stretch drive, the Breeders' Crown. JK, she's a leading put to the test. Sasa Hanover the outside, pouring it on and giving her all she can handle. Then it's better and better, and well, hello there on the inside. JK, she's a lady, prevails. She's got enough, and she's undefeated. JK, she's a lady, a perfect 12 for 12 in 150 and 2 in the Breeders' Crown.
JK, she's a lady in the 2014 Breeders' Crown 2-year-old fillies. Final, the only 2-year-old pacing filly to be Horse of the Year.
Yeah, it was a shame that she had to retire early, too. She ended up retiring. She had a bacterial lung infection. She made over $970,000. Katz brothers owned her. It was 3 brothers.
Very, very
that
cool.
had her. So it was a nice horse that unfortunately had to stop racing early, but 13 for 16 lifetime and star out there.
Just incredible. What a big, big performance in that Breeders' Crown effort. As we saw the 2-year-old boys pacing in this past race in the 11th, and it was Gem Quality with a big upset at 23-1 and a new track record as well, as he was able to run down the heavy favorite, Captain Albano, and those two put some separation on the rest of the field.
Yeah, there was a gap between those 2 horses and the other, and that track record, Captain Albano still ran very well in defeat, just happened to run into a horse who ran a little bit faster and set a track record. So a solid effort for a horse that hadn't won in a while either.
For Gem Quality was a big price, as mentioned. He was 3 for 7 lifetime. Dexter Dunn, though, 6 wins tonight. Picks up his first Breeders' Crown victory as well, and he's definitely present in all of the big races this weekend.
Yeah, I'm sure it will not be his last victory that he has gone for. He might win more on the card tonight, so.
As Gabe mentioned, just one that has picked up a lot of accolades and achievements and putting on a show as to why tonight. $48.60 winner, 23-1 over your 2-5 favorite. Some big prices underneath as well, but no doubt about the winner, Gem Quality, with a monster effort today for the 2-year-old Pacers. We have the 2-year-old fillies pacing in the next race coming up for the Breeders' Crown final in the 12th race, and we'll see what this one can do. And this does seem to be geocentric, and it centers around her. I know a horse that you ended up singling, 9 for 9, undefeated, and she's the heavy favorite right now.
Yeah, and deservedly so. She's like a boss, and she brings that perfect record into the final, too. So she's the class, she's the queen until somebody knocks her off. But as we saw in the last race, anything is possible. So Definitely deserved favorite in here, and she makes a lot of sense just based on what she's done all year.
Well, it's been quite a night for driver Dexter Dunn as he just piloted Gem Quality to victory. He's standing by with Jess.
Thanks so much, Acacia. Standing by with winning driver Dexter Dunn. Win number 6 on the night. Before we talk about that race, how important is it to maybe get a little bit of confidence going into these big money races?
It's good to be in form, Jess. It's like probably anything you do in sport. When you're feeling good, things can work out for you and you get it rolling. So I guess it helps. You always try to, but sometimes it doesn't work.
Let's talk about that recall. How was your Colt and how did he, kind of bounce out of that?
He was really good, Jess. He was actually really relaxed. He come back off the arm when the recall was, nice and quietly. And, sometimes that can really affect a horse if they take too much out of themselves. A few of them are getting pretty wound up, but my guy was super.
Last week in the elimination, just got beat at the wire. It's a long stretch here at Hoosier Park, and this week he kind of just shook loose. Take me through the trip. You had to be liking where you were sitting.
Yeah, he was good last week. He probably should have won it, I thought, though, and changed a little bit of equipment on. Chris has done a great job this week with them, and we used them early, and we followed the 2 right horses after that. I was happy with my spot, and when Newsroom blew that last turn, we got a good split up the middle, and he really sprinted hard.
Nice job.
Thank you.
Go enjoy it. And there you have it. He sets a new track record, Gem Quality, at 23-1. Didn't take long for an upset here at Harris Hoosier Park, and the Breeders' Crown will send it back to Acacia and Paul.
A nice performance from Gem Quality. Jessica, thank you. And Dexter Dunn said, well, it's nice to be in form. I would certainly say he's in form after 6 wins tonight so far.
That's just a warm-up for a guy like Dexter. He's got a lot more to go yet than that, but that was a really good drive and a really good trip. And Dexter made great mention of the fact about keeping his guy calm during the recall and that they were good to go and he didn't turn a hair, and that's always important.
A big factor in it for sure, with a little bit of drama before that race for the 2-year-old Pacers. The 2-year-old fillies pacing, going a mile in the next race coming up, the Breeders' Crown Final. $700,000 purse in the 12th. Of course, as mentioned, all going around Geocentric, the undefeated 2-year-old filly. She has been so impressive so far. But as we saw in that last race, and I think it's important, Dexter talked about, the importance of changing equipment, of bouncing off of a horse's performance. For 2-year-olds, there could be a lot of changes at this stage of the game.
Yeah, you could throw a lot of things at them. A lot of the kitchen sink will go with them, and a lot of times it does work. The main thing with 2-year-olds, though, is just keeping their head in the game. They can get so unfocused very quickly. 1 minute they're there for you, the next minute they get warmed up, heated up, they jump off, they see something. We'll have to find out what happened with Newsroom, because I think Newsroom ran the race prior to the race actually happening as they revved up for the gate. Just didn't show that speed off the wings after the recall.
Did appear to be the case. The fillies in the spotlight coming up. We'll take a quick time out. 2-year-old fillies pacing in the Breeders' Crown Final coming up after this. More live racing action from Harris Hoosier Park on Breeders' Crown night. Stay with us on America's Day at the Races after this.
It's still Temporal Hanover. Temporal Hanover will take the field by 3/4 of a length.
You know, you do, takes the Peter Houghton Memorial. Sharton, a repeater in the Lady Liberty, a world record performance.
Lion Sentinel wins off a ground-saving trip. In the She's a Great Lady, and she has set the stakes track and Canadian record tonight, the fastest freshman filly.
Only the best horses become part of the Country Lane Standardbreds lineage. There is pride in marrying the nature of exceptional bloodlines with the nurturing of our own hands. Every one of Country Lane Standardbreds horses is specially chosen to follow in the footsteps of winners. These horses are family. We personally own our mares and stallions. They are given personal care and affection. our lineage goes on to race with the best.
It's spooky season. You're watching America's Day at the Races, brought to you by Naira Bet. Sign up, get started just in time for the Breeders' Cup coming up. We have the Breeders' Crown this weekend. You can use promo code CUP25 for your $25 free bet plus an up to $200 deposit match bonus after your first deposit. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Get started at nairabets.com today. Did you carve those?
I want that aqueduct pumpkin. Like, I'm not joking. If that aqueduct pumpkin disappears, I did it. Just letting everybody know.
We look forward to seeing what happens to the pumpkin in the future. But up next, what could Geocentric do? It's time for the Breeders' Crown 2-year-old fillies. Pacing coming up. The undefeated Geocentric on the line. She's 3-5 at the moment. The only one besides her that's really taking much attention is the 8, My Girl EJ, who's 4-1, half her morning line on the board at the moment. The heavy favorite, and rightfully so, with Geocentric. Tim Tetrick, her regular driver. We'll meet the rest of the field, though, starting off with the first of 4 for trainer Ron Burke. Can I get a loop-loop?
What? No, just one of those. First of the Ron Burks in here. Long shot, got the pocket ride behind Geocentric and never moved off the pylons, which was a big move at Hoosier, especially with that long stretch. A lot of horses don't come off the pylons when they're long shots. They toe into the race. Probably hoping to do the same thing today to get a piece.
43-1. I love that. That was awesome. Here's your heavy favorite, undefeated 2-year-old filly, Geocentric.
You know, she's a boss, and she delayed the race last week, too, because she picked a shoe half off. She didn't care. She's so well-mannered. Give a girl the right shoes, right? I mean, I'm asking you that question, too. But took over pretty easy. Listen, one thing I really like that should be out there, they never pulled the plugs on her last week, and she still had more to give. She's the class. She's the queen until she gets knocked off.
Seems we missed the 3, but there is the 4 Pass Line Ontario Sire Stakes winner.
First over Blitz and Hurlim. She was able to carry that move, puts away It's a Love Thing, got shuffled inside of her. It'll be interesting to see if she can go faster tonight from a nice post.
Here's a 5 American.
Went from last third over, gapped that run. She's a fast closing third. She's posted in here. She might get a piece at a big price if you like her.
That's another one for trainer Ron Burke, who is well represented in this race. Here's the 6, It's a Love Thing.
Made that rush up from 4th to 1st into a quick half to 3/4. Paid the price. Weekend ended up being 5th. She's a nice horse, and there's talent there. Be a great night to put it all together and pull a big upset.
See if she can get the job done. We saw a 23-1 winner in the last race. Caviar Bell is the number 7.
Couldn't sustain the first overrun at Geocentric when the real running started. Draws outside, probably in the same kind of trip position, pulling them first over. And I'm not sure that that's going to work out for her right now.
She's a big price on the board right now. Skipped the 8, My Girl EJ, who is taking attention, driven by Dexter Dunn. But here's the 9, Blue Pacific.
I think she was the best horse in that past the line of limb. And the fact that she was forced to wait for that seam to open kind of hurt her. The bad news is she has post 9 tonight. We'll see what kind of position she can get early on to set up her run.
And long shot, Peace Talks.
Yeah, definitely a long shot in here with a 5th place finish last week in her limb. That's how she got in here. Now gets saddled with the 2nd tier in here. So she's up against it.
See if anybody can beat Geocentric. Let's head down to Jessica with a special guest.
Standing by with trainer Ronnie Burke, you send out 4 in the 2-year-old pacing filly final for the Breeders' Crown final. Let's talk about 2 of them first. Can I get a loop-loop and Cam American? Maybe 2 bit of long shots coming into the race, but how are they?
Yeah, Loop's been good. You know, she's just got to be controlled off the rail. Chris knows her. He's driven her before, so that'll help. Can America's been sneaky sharp, you know, since she went to the big track, and I think she's actually figures in here, too.
And Pass Line, a horse that we haven't seen much here in the U.S., obviously prior to that elimination, but she's been on a roll up in Canada.
Yeah, no, she was a good horse when we trained her down. We knew she was. She qualified great. David did a great job with her in Canada. All she does is win. And, you know, since she's been, hooked up with Yannick, she's been very, very sharp.
And My Girl EJ, she's the closest horse that's come to Geocentric. Obviously, you know, she's very good coming into the race. She's undefeated, but you've said all along that you wouldn't trade My Girl EJ for any other filly. How is she coming out of that race last week and coming into the race tonight?
She was great, you know, and they had a 20-minute delay, and she had to be out there, and that's not her deal. And Dex was worried she was washed out, but she raced great. You know, we're going to race her tonight. Like, you know, it's going to be full gear. So let's go, you know, get it on.
Two-year-old Colt and Gelding trotters, TCI and Carl meet up once again. Your guy has been phenomenal all season long as well. Didn't have to race in the elimination due to a bye. How is he coming into the race tonight?
Trained great last week, trained good on Tuesday. He seems, like himself. He's an ultimate professional, probably the smartest horse I've ever been around. Carl looks like a great horse too. So, I need David to maybe put Yannick in a bad spot or something.
It's a great matchup for the sport to watch. We wish you the best of luck.
I wish we win.
We'll send it back to you guys.
Going for the victory here, Jessica, thank you. Yeah, TCI coming up has been in tremendous form for the Burke Barn, but represented by 4 in this race coming up, including my girl EJ, who was behind Geocentric in the elimination.
Closest horse to get to Geocentric lately. So towed second over, didn't really threaten Geocentric. We'll see what happens, though, but she certainly figures in here in a race if she can get a setup and that stretch gets long.
Could potentially be some future stars in this group. Gabe and Jessica primarily centering around the undefeated filly, Geocentric.
Geocentric has been so sensational all year long, but Gabe, you're going to go against her in here. You're going to use My Girl EJ on the top of your ticket, and deservingly so. I've been a fan of My Girl EJ. She's the closest to come anywhere near Geocentric. She's going to have to face an outside post, but hey, who better to have than Dexter Dunn in the bike?
Yeah, how about Dexter, guys? 12 Breeders' Crown Championships prior to that last upset win. His biggest price in the previous 12 wins, $8.20. He just paid 23-1, $40 more that last race. So Dex is a man. We know that. My girl EJ, as Ronnie said, she was on that track a long time last week. I do think that bothered her a little bit, Jess. She's going to have to get a little lucky from post 8, but Ron Burke, the sport's all-time leading trader, 14,000 and change career victories. He sends 4 to this event. I think his headliner for sure, My Girl EJ, and I had to give her a major chance here. She's up there at a good price right now, 5-1.
She'll definitely be put into play from an outside post. The favorite on the board, 2-5, Geocentric, a field of 10 two-year-old pacing fillies behind the gate. We'll send it up to Micah Chamberlain for the call.
Geocentric, 1-2, trying to keep that perfect record intact. 9-2 on pass line. Here they come. They are up. Pass line starts well. Also moving up quickly, My Girl EJ, and Geocentric gets the 3rd spot as Blue Pacific also moves up outside in 4th. Next comes Camerican. Can I Get a Loop Loop is next. Then Peace Talks up into 7th from the 2nd tier. Racing next is Behest. After that comes It's a Love Thing. Caviar Bell, 10th and last. Opening quarter, 27 seconds. Moving on to the back stretch, and moving up on the outside is Geocentric. Here comes Geocentric, and she takes the lead. My Girl EJ second to the inside. Pass line is 3rd. Then a length and a half to Camerican, who's got the 4th spot. After that, it's Blue Pacific. Next is Can I Get a Loop Loop? Peace Talks right behind her. Then Behest with It's a Love Thing and Caviar Bell. Half mile, 54 seconds. Consistent pace, another 27-second quarter. On to the 2nd turn. And Geocentric and Tim Tetrick are out front. My Girl EJ is 2nd. Pass line, Blue Pacific parked on the 2nd turn in 4th position. Then to the inside is Camerican. Peace Talks is next as they enter the stretch. 3/4, 1:22-2. Geocentric blazing along in front. My Girl EJ on the outside, and here comes My Girl EJ as Dexter Dunn is sending her up to take the lead. My Girl EJ into the final 1/8 of a mile. Pass line, Geocentric has been defeated. It is My Girl EJ and Dexter Dunn. This is going to be a 7th win tonight for him, and a 2nd Breeders' Crown winner with My Girl EJ. 2nd was Pass Line, Camerican 3rd. It's a Love Thing 4th. 149-2. That is a new stakes and track record.
A lot going on in this race for sure. My Girl EJ dazzling. You heard in the call, new stakes and track record. Ron Burke said they were coming for the victory today, and she was able to defeat Geocentric, who faded when she was passed.
They were not lying. They used this horse's speed right off the gate, got this horse to the top, And Geocentric came calling. She put herself in front, ran fast to the 3/4 as well. But when they turned for home and the real running started, boy, Dexter Dunn, 7 on the night. When everything is just going well, it doesn't matter. And he just pulled out and had a ton of horse under him and drew off under a good confident drive. And Pass Line ran a good second in here. And Kim American also ran great too. So Ron Burke, 1, 2, 3 in here.
Well, that's a nice finish for the barn, that's for sure. But Dexter Dunn, an unbelievable 7-win night. Gabe Dexter keeps delivering out on the racetrack, and my girl EJ definitely delivered tonight.
Guys, it's all about the double D. He is in the zone, and you can see why trainer Ron Burke's the all-time leading trainer in the sport. He's got over $300 million career earnings. Well, he's going to take, let's just say the lion's share here, 87% of the purse here with a 1-2-3 finish in this $700,000 event. So you can see why he's right there at the top of the sport year in, year out. Dexter gave my girl EJ just a perfect steer here because he knew, guys, the favorite Geocentric, the undefeated filly, the filly to beat would be moving to the top. That would cover his filly up. He would get to draft along and pounce at the top of the stretch. For Geocentric, get a nice campaign for her, but the half, guys, pace makes a race, 54 seconds. That was by far the fastest she's been at the half all season. Prior to that, it was 54 and 4. So this was quite a bit quicker for Geocentric. Ultimately, that quick toll paid its price on Geocentric there. She gets tired in the late stages. Hats off to my girl EJ here at Her Connections.
Big victory for my girl EJ tonight. Top pick by Gabe as well. A great call. And yeah, what a day for Dexter Dunn. What a finish for trainer Ron Burke. But as Gabe touched on, the pace, it did take its toll on your favorite Geocentric, who we saw make that early move to take over the lead.
Yeah, when you're going to 54 and a half, and the fastest this horse went was 54 and 4 on a 5/8. Now doing it on a 7/8 with a stretch like that, turning for home, she was a little gassed.
But it was a 7th victory tonight for driver Dexter Dunn. My girl EJ victorious for trainer Ron Burke. And Ron's not done just yet. He has TCI, who's won 10 of 11 career starts so far. That horse will rematch with Carl in the upcoming Breeders' Crown Trot for the Colts and Geldings after this.
A Grade 1 winner on both dirt and turf, War of Will became a classic winner with this victory in the Preakness Stakes. He added turf credentials to his resume with a determined victory in the Grade 1 Maker's Mark Mile. Now his progeny are bringing top dollar in the sales ring.
650,000.
Jesse, 375,000. AC, 335,000.
A dual surface classic winning son of Warfront, War of Will, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Experience the adrenaline-pumping, suspense-filled action of the Sport of Kings no matter where you are with Naira Bets. It's fast, easy, and secure. Download the app today and start winning with our lucrative weekly promotions, thrilling handicapping contests, and a one-of-a-kind VIP rewards program. Don't just watch horse racing, be a part of the action with Naira Bets.
We're back on America's Day at the races. Glad to have you with us as we saw another favorite defeated with the 2-year-old fillies Pace and Breeders' Crown final, and it was My Girl EJ. There was a small inquiry on the 4th place finish, the 6th. It's a love thing, but no change in the order of finish. Let's head down to Jessica.
Thanks, Acacia. Standing by with winning driver Dexter Dunn. My Girl EJ sets a track and stakes record 149-2 in those 2-year-old pacing fillies. Dexter, you took over the driving on this filly a couple of starts ago in Lexington. Just kind of talk about how special she is.
Yeah, Ronnie rung me there. David'd been driving her and he had Blue Pacific, so Ronnie gave me a call up. I didn't really have any 2-year-old fillies, so yeah, she was great in Lexington. I think she skipped the second week, or maybe the first week, and then she was awesome here in the elimination, and she was even better tonight. She felt great.
Last week she was on the track for a bit longer, maybe took a little bit out of her, but tonight she just looks so good. You left aggressively out of the gate. Just walk me through the trip.
Yeah, she's a bit of a character out there, Jess. She's quite hard work. She keeps you on your toes, but we obviously had a wide draw. We had to get handy with her, and she got out of there good, and obviously got to follow Timmy, and I don't know if Timmy was traveling, how good he was traveling on the turn. My girl was feeling really good, and I was wondering how long to wait, but when I moved her, she really sprinted home great.
Nice job.
Thank you, Jess.
There you have it. My Girl EJ sets a stakes track record in the Breeders' Crown final for those 2-year-old Payson fillies. We'll send it back to you guys at the desk.
Big performance from My Girl EJ today. The big performance from Dexter Dunn as well. 7 wins tonight and counting.
And counting. Yeah, we still got a little bit more action to go. And as Dexter said, he was just waiting for the moment to wheel her out, and he kept her in as long as possible too, and Geocentric started backing up into him, so he pulled out and she just burst away late. So great race for the Burke barn in here.
Yeah, finishing 1, 2, 3. Big night for the Burke barn, who still has TCI coming up as he'll rematch with Carl in the next race. But My Girl EJ at 7-2, $9.40 winner, the favorite Geocentric, the victim of that quick pace, fading to finish off the board. Well, as we've been teasing throughout the show, the rematch of TCI and Carl coming up next with the 2-year-olds in the 1-mile trot in the Breeders' Crown final. Should be a fun one, as take a look at the board right now. Carl 2-1, TCI 3-5. TCI got the best of Carl when they met at Red Mile.
Yeah, that might have been the race of the year, to be honest with you, and the build-up for that race as well. And it didn't, obviously, it all came to fruition in that race. And TCI legitimately right now, 3-5, I think is a little bit short. I think you're going to see the odds even out a little bit as we get closer. But I think coming in fresh, I think TCI is probably the horse to beat in here.
As we'll take a look at that race in Lexington, and TCI has been very consistent, 10 out of 11 wins. Carl, 6 for 7. They're both horses that have put some big performances together. Here we go, taking a look at this finish between the two of them. Carl was 3-5 and TCI even money that day. They both put on a big show.
Yeah, it lived up to the hype, and they were going pretty easy in this race as far as the fractions went, so you knew it was going to turn into a sprint when they turned for home, and Dave Miller found the right moment to just pull out here and grind on by Carl with TCI and got his nose down on the wire when it counted.
Oh, that was a tough beat for Carl that day. See if he can turn the tables on TCI coming up in the 13th race, the final Breeders' Crown event of the evening. And we'll talk a little bit more about it after this quick timeout on America's Day at the races. We'll also take a look at some of the big names we'll see tomorrow as Confederate looks for his first Breeders' Crown victory. He's won just about everything else there is to win.
We are athletes. We are drivers. We are caretakers. We are owners. We are trainers. We are fans. We are harness racing.
On a perfect day, there is no finer place in all of sports.
Nerves, excitement, and anticipation.
Than beautiful, truly stunning. Breeders' Cup World Championships.
It's America's original sport, and no one covers it better than americasbestracing.net. From the sport to the lifestyle, the best races, horses, and destination venues, cocktails, gambling, fashion, and more. americasbestracing.net is a sport for you.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. RTN has packages that start at $5 per month.
Welcome back to America's Day at the Races. What a beautiful shot at Harrah's Hoosier Park on Breeders' Crown Night. Our program brought to you by Naira Bet. You can bet any track, anywhere, anytime. We've seen some promising 2-year-olds tonight, but tomorrow we'll see some of the biggest names in the sport, including Confederate on an 8-race win streak. He'll put it all on the line, looking for his first Breeders' Crown victory tomorrow evening.
He is no rebel. Confederate, however, possesses the grit, determination, and purpose of any soldier, as the sport's top-ranked horse must vanquish 9 rivals to obtain its first Breeders' Crown triumph at Harrah's Hoosier Park. Conditioned this year by Brett Pelling and steered by Hall of Famer Tim Tetrick, the 3-year-old son of Sweet Lou enters the $600,000 Breeders' Crown Final for sophomore male pacers on an 8-race win streak after capturing his elimination with a blistering rally.
Confederate now coming on to take the lead late, and Confederate has won.
Owned and bred by Diamond Creek Farm, Confederate did not commence his career with a bang. He was third in his debut in the Hoosier State in 2022. When he appeared in Kentucky, Confederate demonstrated he had plenty in his arsenal by reeling off 5 straight victories, including the Kentucky Sire Stakes Championship and his Breeders' Crown elimination. The Colt lost by the slimmest of margins as the heavy favorite to Long Shot Ammo in the $600,000 final at Woodbine Mohawk Park.
Fall just short. Ammo with a Breeders' Crown blockbuster score.
Like any warrior, Confederate kept his eye on the prize. He returned as a sophomore with a triumph, annexed his North America Cup elimination with ease, and suffered a setback with a nose loss to world champion It's My Show in Canada's richest race for standardbreds, the North America Cup Final.
A late push from Confederate. It's My Show wins the big show.
Confederate marched through the ranks with triumphs in the Meadowlands Pace, the Max Hempt Memorial, the Cane Pace, and the Kentucky Sire Stakes Final.
It's all Confederate in the Cane Pace.
But it was his performance on September 4th in the Kentucky Sire Stakes where Confederate absolutely destroyed his competition with ease. He became the swiftest 3-year-old in the history of harness racing with a jaw-dropping 146 in 1 mile.
And Confederate here down at the line. Confederate 146 in 1, a world record for Confederate.
He has dominated a division loaded with talent ever since.
Confederate digs it here to win.
The world champion now prepares to avenge his narrow losses on the Grand Circuit and collect his 17th victory from 20 pari-mutuel miles. Will he gun down Ammo and It's My Show to collect his first crown? The odds are in his favor to reign supreme and defeat the opposition to become a Breeders' Crown champion and one of the most explosive pacers in recent history.
#1 rated horse in North America. Pretty much the only thing missing from his resume is a Breeders' Crown victory, and Confederate will try to do that tomorrow in the Breeders' Crown final.
Yeah, and he's well-deserved this year to get that crown. And not for anything, his last 2 races, he's raced with some lacerations on his knees, too. So that's been a little bit of a tough go for him. He'll get his little knee boots back tomorrow, so that'll help. And he has got the field over a barrel if he runs his A game.
We can't wait to see him. Certainly a big star on the program, on a program full of stars tomorrow evening. But we have another race for the 2-year-olds coming up. It's the Breeders' Crown 2-year-old Trot for the Colts and Gelding. It's going a mile, $700,000 purse. And this is just has been tipped as the TCI versus Carl rematch. Carl will kick off the post parade as he's down now to 8-5.
Yeah, we're starting to see those odds come back together. He regained his winning form. Powerhouse effort last week in the elim. He was allowed to settle, make that nice extended move, and never look back. Got a nice inside post. For this final, that should help. He's 6 for 7 lifetime. Sets up a good rematch here. We'll see if anybody else can spoil the apple cart.
That's right. There are plenty of other horses in the field, 8 others, in fact, beyond those 2, though it does seem to center around them. Here's the number 2, Private Access.
I'm excited for Watt and this horse in here. You know, I guess he was ready to roll last week. You hadn't seen him since mid-September when he made a break in that race, but no worries. I mean, he won his elim pretty easily. I liked what I saw. He's got plenty of talent. He gets goofy with breaks. We'll see what he does.
Big price on Mr. Bluebird.
Secured the pocket early on in his elim. Made a nice run to be a clear second behind Carl. Was pretty far behind him, but it's that Ake Svanstedt guy, so if both the big names show up, I mean, maybe he's running for 3rd in here, but you never know.
Number 4, Security Protected, another one with a price.
Yeah, he's going to have to rebound. He was 1-5, just couldn't sustain that first over move he made, and I don't know why he didn't kick on. Timmy didn't motivate him that much either, so I wonder if they just said, we're a clear 3rd, we made it in, but it's never a good sign when they throw in those clunkers.
The other big player, TCI, with David Miller.
You know, he's looking to be the richest 2-year-old male trotter in history with a win tonight. He's already the richest 2-year-old, and if he could do that, boy, he'll have some history on his side. Fractions were easy. He sprinted home. I like the way he's coming in fresh. We'll see what happens.
Been so good lately. Generous price on the number 6, Greenspan, looking to turn things around.
Yeah, came up with second. Nice kick in the stretch to get up for 3rd at a big price, but we'll see what happens in here. He's a long shot.
There's the 7, Dashing Danny.
Spent most of the elim, like we talked about, some horses on the pylons, lost a little bit of ground, managed to rally to get 4th late. He's got an outside draw in here, another long shot, and a group of them.
And another long shot, speaking of, that looks like a very big horse, at least from that angle. Wild Ticket.
Yeah, you can't even see the driver behind him, right? He trudged along in that elim that Carl won, lost 4th late to Dashing Danny, which wasn't all that inspiring. Has an outside draw, but it's got to flip that script quick.
Situationship is next. Plenty of seconds on the form.
I thought you say plenty of us have been in situationships. I thought that's where we were going with it. It's getting late.
We're getting goofy.
Yeah, we're getting goofy. You know what? Made the most of getting the pocket when Dame Good Time broke, though. We'll see what happens in here.
And number 10, a second tier, I should say, Muscle Fantastic. This one's named after our director, Mitch Levitas.
Oh, he's flexing right now in the truck?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm glad you told me that. So, Gape Security last time out protected cover last week. We'll see what happens with post 10. It's a tough call from second tier, though. You got to find a trip.
But this race certainly seems to have lived up to the billing so far with that big rematch, Gabe and Jessica with TCI and Carl. Looking forward to seeing them throw it down.
We are looking forward to seeing them throw it down. We talked about it earlier on the show. This is the marquee matchup, I think, of the whole entire weekend, Gabe. These 2 colts have avoided each other, I guess you could say, all season long until that matchup at Lexington, down in Lexington just a couple of weeks ago now. You know, TCI made a break behind the gate in the Mohawk Million, came back to win it. Carl's been super sensational. When they did meet up, there was a lot of talk about maybe one or the other being overrated. TCI was a little bit maybe overrated after that win in the Mohawk Million, how he did it. Carl hadn't been facing much company. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I can tell you one thing, Jess. We thought that face-off was going to really settle the debate because that was all the rage in the sport. Who was better between TCI and Carl? However, that race left us with more questions, and I think we have answers because the opinions vary all across the sport. Carl took a couple of funny steps in that race, and it really cost him a little bit. TCI was able to get up by a nose, so the margin was so close there. You know, you and I were both there in Lexington that day. We had to wait literally for an extra 2 or 3 minutes to figure out who won. You know, even when they crossed the line, we were all still confused at who got the best in that matchup. So the debate has raged on. It really didn't settle anything for that matter. So we're ready to drop the gloves here and get it on with $700,000 on the line. The rematch of the century, we'll call it.
Absolutely. And Carl had to race in that elimination last week. He was a solid winner. TCI was a bye into the final, so that he didn't have to race last week, and he gets post 5 to work with. You went with Carl over TCI. Tell me why.
Yeah, I'm going to talk about both. But again, I just think Carl had an alibi in that first matchup. We just took a look back at there, Jess. He got just a little steppy, but I know trainer Nancy Tacker's had to make really a crazy amount of shoeing changes. You're looking at the elimination here last week where it was an open length winner. He still never looked completely smooth and comfortable. If you take a close look at him there through the stretch, he was just a little bumpy for my liking. Trainer Nancy Tacker, I know, is completely changing the shoeing tonight on Carl. I think that's going to play in his hands. She trained him with his new shoes down in Lexington this week. So, I think that's really going to make a big difference with this Colt, because he's going to have his A game here tonight to try and turn the tables on TCI.
Absolutely. And, she said earlier when I was talking to her, he had never been on a track with such tight turns. Yeah, we have a long stretch, but it's the tight turns that she was worried about. She tightened up the head pull. Hopefully that will help as well. What do you think trip scenario-wise? TCI sat on Carl's back down in Lexington. He has done on the front end because, they were kind of joking around with David Miller earlier on in the season that they want him to race from off the pace. He couldn't control him to come from off the pace. He was able to come from off the pace when he made that break at Mohawk, but now I think he's versatile enough where he could do it.
Yeah, I don't think there's any question that these Colts are going to leave the gate, though. In my opinion, they're the two best Colts by many lengths, tons of best as far as that goes. So they're going to get away 1-2 here, in my opinion, Jess. And we're going to see a real heavyweight bout when these two Colts turn for home. No, they're not in by themselves. There are 8 other talented Colts in here, but the headliners are here. Sort of a tale of two worlds. Carl from Post 1, well, he's by Tactical Landing. It's just his second season as a sire, a bright young sire in the sport. TCI, he's by Cantab Hall. Now, Cantab Hall passed away, unfortunately, earlier this year. He was the 2-year-old trotting colt. He was undefeated way back in 2003. So this is a guy that had quite the career as a stallion. Cantab Hall had been retired at the leading farm in the sport, the Hanover Shoe Farm. So he'd been just living his best life. Unfortunately, we lost him in January of this year. So TCI here from Post 5, he sort of carries the last banner for a stallion who's been so prominent in our sport for so many years. They thought Cantab Hall may have lost his luster, his sire. Well, here you go. TCI, if he wins tonight, Jess. Yes. Now, take this note in mind. If he wins tonight, he'll be the richest 2-year-old in the history of standardbred racing. He's already over $1,080,000. If he wins this event tonight, he'll be over $1.43 million. That'll be the richest 2-year-old in the sport ever.
I think when you talk about the sport and between TCI and Carl, it's really 50-50 between who they have on top or who they like better in this scenario. Does TCI missing the elimination scare you?
Not so much. I think that, he's been raced more. I believe this is his 12th start of the season. So the rest doesn't really bother me that much. But I do agree with you. I think it's a bit of a coin flip. So I think we're out there wagering on the sport. If you have two horses that you think are pretty evenly matched, why wouldn't you take the better price of the two? Right now, Carl's up there at 3-2. You're having to take an odds-on price on TCI. So with the discrepancy in price, I see no reason to go anything against what I've been all along. It's Carl for me. I think he turns the tables here.
And I think TCI is able to get the job done. So obviously it's very back and forth between not just the two of us, but the entire sport of harness racing. And this is a division up for grabs in the year-end awards with Carl and TCI.
It really is, because what's going to happen if Carl could turn the tables here on the sport's biggest stage at the $700,000 Breeders' Crown? Does that elevate him enough? By the way, if TCI's second, we said he was going to be the richest 2-year-old ever in the sport. If he wins, if he's second, he'll still be the richest trotter ever. So could you be the richest trotter ever in the history of the sport and not win divisional honors? That would seem a little absurd, but who knows? These two colts have given us a great ride all summer into the fall, and we're expecting one last one.
We really are. It's a nice, solid field of 10 in the Breeders' Crown final for those 2-year-old Colt and Gelding trotters. We'll send it back to Acacia.
Jessica and Gabe, we cannot wait to see the matchup. Paul, which one do you like?
Carl and TCI are lengths the best, but Private Access is my long shot I'm looking at.
I like it.
So we're going to give this guy a shot after last week. He's a little goofy. He's got a lot of talent. Let's hope he stays flat. We'll see if he can upset the apple cart. But make no mistake, Carl and TCI are way the horses to beat.
Will it be Carl? Will it be TCI? Will it be somebody else? Breeders' Crown, 2-year-old Colts and Gelding's 1-mile trot. Here's Michael Chamberlain with the call.
Here they come. They are up. Security Protected started well and goes up to grab the early lead. Mr. Bluebird, there goes TCI, and TCI glides right up now and takes the lead. Security Protected second. Mr. Bluebird is third. Carl came away fourth. Private Access is next, fifth. Muscle Fantastic is into 6th. After that, it's Greenspan, then Dashing Danny with Wild Ticket and Situationship 10th and last after a first quarter of 26 and 4. TCI is the leader. Pocketed second is Security Protected. Carl is not going to wait. Here comes Carl up from the 4th position, now moving up to challenge TCI, and the two of them are right together. Carl goes on to take the lead. TCI back to second as the field comes to the half-mile mark in 56 and 1. Moving to that second turn, Carl has taken the lead. TCI is second. Security Protected, followed by Muscle Fantastic, who's up on the outside. Then Mr. Bluebird to the inside with Private Access and Greenspan. Then Dashing Danny, Wild Ticket, and Situationship. As they approach the top of the stretch, it's Carl. TCI is second. Security Protected third. Head of the stretch, headed for home. 3/4, 125. Carl is in front. TCI angles out, and this is what we wanted. The two fabulous freshman trotters, 1-2, coming into the final 1/8 of a mile. Carl is in front and pulling away. Carl now in front by 3. TCI is second, and Security Protected back in third. It is Carl who is a dominant victor tonight, winning with Yannick Gingras in 151 and 4. TCI second. Third was Security Protected. Private Access fourth. And again, that time, 151 and 4. That is a stakes record and a track record.
Plenty of records being broken tonight. Another record, this one for Carl. The two big names were the best, Paul, but Carl really much the best, pulling away from TCI.
Yeah, the grand scheme of things, taking over at the half wasn't such a bad thing going into that 56 and 1 half mile. I mean, TCI really didn't have much of an excuse, floated right out to the top. Miller used the horse's speed to get there, but Yannick Gingras was not happy sitting, took over before the half, and just managed to draw off. Right here, it looked like that TCI was going to come out a little bit, but Dave Miller went back to the inside with him, trying to get him brave one last time. But by then, Carl was already a couple of lengths in front and held sway the rest of the way. Stretch didn't get long for either one of these horses tonight.
No, certainly not. They were ahead of the rest of the field, but pulling away and adding some separation was Carl. And like you said, it looked like at one point we might see TCI tip out and make a race of it. But Gabe, you've been singing the praises of Carl all night. Another good call. And TCI just didn't have it when called upon. Carl did.
Of the sport, so he's had an incredible campaign, but he ran into a buzzsaw. Thanks a lot, Acacia. Carl, take nothing away from TCI, but he ran into a buzzsaw tonight. And Carl, TCI is still going to be the richest 2-year-old trotter in the history of the sport. Even with that runner-up tonight, he's going to go well over $1.25 million. But Carl, I think, guys, the shoeing changes may have made all the difference. He looked like a different trotter tonight. He was nice, he was smooth, and he was incredible on the front. And you also have to take your hat off to driver Yannick Gingras. Believe me, guys, he did not want to get away fourth in this race. TCI sort of got to dictate the terms of the lead. He sensed a slow second quarter. That second quarter was just in 29 and 2. So rather than let TCI set that slow pace, driver Yannick Gingras made that really quick snap decision to move Carl to the top right then and right there. He didn't want to take anything into chance. He did so. Carl stepped up and delivered here. Again, this was a breakout performance. If we were confused before this race on who's going to be the 2-year-old trotter of the year, guys, what in the world do we think now?
Yeah, that brings up some really interesting questions, Gabe. You're absolutely right. As TCI had been kind of the dominant one coming in here who had gotten the best of Carl, but now Carl turning the tables. And the fact of the matter is, Paul, these are two very talented and very promising young horses.
Yeah, as long as they stay healthy and they come back next season in the order they've come in now, it's going to be a really good march to the Hambletonian with these horses that are in here. And I guess the question you have to ask yourself is TCI's body of work, even in defeat here, enough?
Yeah, it's a very interesting question, and still is finishing second, as Gabe mentioned, still becoming the richest trotter, which is pretty impressive as well. TCI, who had banked over $1 million coming into this race, but Carl turning the tables for trainer Nancy Tactor. Big effort from this guy tonight, and we're wondering, we don't know, but I wonder who Carl is.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out who Carl is named for.
Well, congratulations to Carl, if there is a real Carl that he's named after.
Sure, there are plenty of guys named Carl who wagered on Carl
And if you
tonight.
wagered on Carl and your name is Carl, congratulations as well. Yannick Gingras, the driver of this one, and a horse that, again, he had some solid credentials coming into this 6-for-7 lifetime, that very tough defeat behind TCI, and he had his own merits, but today he was able to pull away from his big competition.
Yeah, and I don't think getting away fourth was part of the plan, but you did have some leavers in there as Security Protected went, TCI went. So you did have some other horses that were going to the top in there. So Yannick just took back from that position, and that rail position, as we've seen, it does give you options. And when they straightened away, he waited to make that move until they straightened away, pulled out, went to the top, and never looked back.
Big performances tonight. Carl with a big effort. Dexter Dunn winning 7 on the program. Tomorrow, of course, we're going to be jam-packed with all of the action as well, and a lot to look forward to.
Yeah, a lot of good racing tomorrow night. There's a lot of wide-open races as well. You got a horse like Tactical Approach who ends up with the outside post position in his race. And then you've got some really good horses. The Open Mare pace is good. The 3-year-old pace. We're talking Confederate. There's going to be a lot of stars out there, and if we've seen anything, we know that anybody is beatable in these races.
A couple of really big favorites go down tonight. The undefeated Geocentric was defeated. The heavy favorite, Captain Albano, defeated as well. So what do they say? That's why they don't run the races on paper.
Yeah, and also I think it's important to note that, and we said it very early on in the show as well, the performances tonight, while they do factor into year-end honors, they don't necessarily make that stamp one way or another. So there's a body of work for some of these horses, like in a Captain Albano's case, or even in a Geocentric's case, that'll be taken into consideration that may still get them the year of honors at the end of the year, as opposed to the thoroughbred side, where we see too often that some horses will win the Breeders' Cup with a not so, deep resume, and they'll end up getting their honors in their division.
I do certainly agree. Should be about the overall body of work in the big races throughout the year. But as far as the 2-year-old trotters are concerned, as far as Gabe mentioned, it really is an interesting conversation with TCI and Carl, who do seem to be kind of evenly matched runners. Carl, though, getting the best of TCI, and I guess the question is the overall body of work of what TCI has done coming in here, or just how dominant Carl was when they met today.
And it's hard to argue with TCI as well. I mean, you think about the Mohawk Million race with TCI. Broke before the start, came back and won the race that day. And then you talk about being the richest 2-year-old out there. Again, it makes a difference in the full grand scheme of things when you're talking about year-end honors. And now they've exchanged blows where now they've been 1-to-1 now in their battles.
That's what the tally is so far. Like Paul said, hopefully we get a chance to see both of these promising horses next year as far as the trotting division. Let's head down to Jessica, though, in the winner's circle.
Thanks so much, Acacia. Congratulations, Nancy. Carl takes a 2-year-old Colt and Gelding Trot for the Breeders' Crown Final. Lots of smiles, lots of hugs. What does this mean to you?
I mean, it's unbelievable. Like, he just lost in Lexington to TCI. They're both great horses, but today, I mean, he just put them away. And to go in 51 again, in where are we, in October, at the end of October, it's just amazing. I mean, he's trotted in 51 3 times now. And his plugs were still in. He's just an amazing, amazing horse.
He's put a lot of speed miles into him this season. Yannick settled, let the dust settle there. Let's talk about that trip. He overtook the front. I mean, he was gone in the stretch. What were you thinking?
I mean, I didn't even say a word. I was just like, just stay on it. Just, you never, with 2-year-olds, you never know. I was like, where's the damn wire so you can cross it and be first? But Yannick told me, when I met him up on the track, he said that, he had the bit in his mouth just as much as like when they were leaving the gate. So he was strong in the wire, and he's just an amazing, fantastic horse.
Tactical Approach by Tactical Landing. This guy's by Tactical Landing. Not to put the cart in front of the horse, but next year will be pretty fun.
I hope so. Fingers crossed.
Is he done for the year?
Yeah, I think we're going to put him away for the year. He's had, 351 miles, like I mentioned, and, next year is a big season for them, and you don't want to over-race them, too. You want to save something for next year, too.
Congratulations. Go enjoy it.
Thank you.
There you have it. Carl takes a 2-year-old Colt and Gelding Trot Breeders' Crown Final. Stakes and track record 151-4. We'll send it back to the desk.
Big performance from Carl tonight, who got the win over TCI, $3.40 winner over the 4 security protected and the 2 private access, as Carl will have a well-deserved winter vacation, and as mentioned, very much looking forward to seeing those 2 runners, not kids once again, as 3-year-olds next year.
Yeah, it should be good. The stake season starts to ramp up, and we'll see what we got next year from them. It's going to be a really good effort.
Favorite performance today?
I think Carl actually was my favorite performance of the night because, I mean, when you look at the way that TCI was coming into the race and a couple of other horses in there, he just really cemented himself as a really solid 2-year-old.
Big performance, but we're not done yet as far as the Breeders' Crown action. We'll be back tomorrow starting at 9 p.m. as well for the older horses in the spotlight. We'll hope you'll join us, but our next show on America's Day at the Races will begin at 12 Eastern tomorrow for our thoroughbred racing, our regular America's Day at the Races program, and then, of course, we'll have the evening coverage as well of the Breeders' Crown. Big performance from all of the 2-year-olds today. Tomorrow, we'll get a chance to see Confederate look for his first Breeders' Crown victory. Hope you'll join us tomorrow evening. Thanks for staying with us tonight. Good night, everyone. We'll see you tomorrow.